Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and are you ready to play a game with your ear holes? Because that's what we're about to do them right now with the Saw retrospective.
It pains me that you've been thinking of this since we brought up the idea of a Saw retrospective, so that's like 2 months.
Just
and
today,
that's what you got.
Just today, actually, I thought of. Like, I haven't been thinking of that, but today I'm like, oh, I guess we need an intro. I haven't thought of an outro for the show, but the intro's good enough. Yeah, you guys can do the outro. I am the man in the 15-person gangbang, Travis Snail.
Got the peanut butter and all?
Mm-hmm. There's the line.
I am the eye in the sky, Dylan Muntz.
I'm the gamester, Taylor Field.
The gamester? What are you? Some weird, like, folklore?
Folklore?
Folklore.
Lord Farquaad.
Lord Farquaad.
Folklore.
I am the one who appreciates life, Jessica.
Oh, okay. At first,
Nice.
I forgot we were doing Saw for a second, so I'm like, she's just on like some big religious.
We're actually reviewing Horizon Zero
Yeah,
Dawn.
Horizon Zero Dawn retrospective. It's been almost a year. No, if you
It
haven't.
actually hasn't.
What? No, I said almost a year.
Nice try. Half a year.
If you need a new game, you better get soon. Your gameplay guarantee's gonna run out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. If you haven't guessed by our nicknames, except for I don't know these two. If you haven't guessed by nicknames or the title below, we've talked about it for. Where's Eye from the Sky come from?
The eye in the sky is a reference to like a camera, you know, like in a fucking
I get it.
In a bathroom.
in a fucking bathroom.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. We talked about this before. Jigsaw is coming out October 8th. It is the continuation of this entire franchise. So we're doing a retrospective. If you've watched we did them with Spider-Man, we did them with Batman. I feel like we've done something else. But we do these series where we watch things over after a period of time. Some of us take notes. We're going to talk about it.
Some of us take
Well, I don't know if we haven't done a retrospective with Taylor and Jessica. So
I
don't know
take
if
pretty
we-
I love the
extensive
Batman.
notes when it
Yeah,
comes to
I
Spider-Man.
was on the
Yes,
Dark Knight.
Batman.
Okay. I wasn't sure. But so yeah, we're doing number one, Saw number one. Came out, 2004? Yeah, 2004. So yeah, and that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be reviewing retros. It is like a review, but it's not in the sense of the same way we do our movie live reviews. It's more talking about the kind of the history of it and maybe what it's done or what it hadn't done. So Taylor, let's start with you. Talk about just your history with the series alone in case it's somebody's first time tuning in. And then what did you feel? What's your overall about this? Non-spoiler. No, I'm joking. We're gonna talk spoilers if you haven't seen this movie by now.
I didn't really get into Saw until like
Today. No.
until today. I watched all of them like a couple hours ago.
Wow.
That makes no sense.
No, like I think I didn't get into Saw until like Saw like the 3D one was like coming out in the theaters.
So the last one.
The last one, yeah.
Wow.
I remember like a couple of them were on Netflix, and I just like I'm just gonna give it a try and watch it, and I didn't know anything about it. I just knew it was just like traps and people getting killed. And
You
all
did
that.
watch them in order though, right? You didn't
I
watch
watched them in order.
Okay, you made it sound
I
like you
wouldn't do
saw
that.
the final chapter and then you're like, oh, I'm
No,
gonna go
no.
back and see the first chapter.
No, I wouldn't have done that. Like, but then again, I had no idea that all the films were so consecutive.
Really? Because you just told us how you were watching Iron Fist and you hadn't watched any of the other ones.
Well, that's a TV show.
Okay, fair enough. Fuck me, right? It's a TV show.
But yeah, no. After watching the first one, it caught my attention. Kind of realizing, okay, like these characters and just the kind of idea that they were kind of going with the story and everything, and just the kind of like Jigsaw's like idea. And I watched the second one, just kept going, and they kind of go downhill, but at the same time, like this just. It pulled me in, so I'm really excited to see what comes because the idea behind it.
So
I
have you
think-
seen all of them now, then?
Glowing recommendation for Dylan. They all go downhill.
I've heard that recommendation from
There is one gem in the downhillness. We'll get to it, but Dylan, we touched upon a few times during other casts and like obviously now. So you have seen this one before, but
Yeah, I watched Saw 1 for the first time about a year and a half ago, something like that. Just because it was one of those things where I was like, I've never seen these and I've never got around to it. And then I watched the first one and I never watched any more. So to this day, I watched Saw 1 again a couple hours ago. And so yeah, that's my history with Saw. I've seen the first movie twice. I think what surprised me the most is that there was like an actual story going on. I always just assumed, because obviously everyone here knows about Saw if you haven't seen them, and I always just assumed they were just like a gore fest with no real story. It's just like, I guess, pretty shallow, I assumed. And I, like Taylor as well, I didn't realize, and even though I've only seen the first one, I didn't realize that they're all kind of like it's all a big story put into one. I always kind of assumed each movie was just like a standalone thing. So
yeah, like you look at like Halloween or Friday the 13th, it's always this killer's after these kids, where this is always following like a certain set of characters.
So yeah, I mean maybe I think I probably assumed that Jigsaw is like the same guy throughout all the movies, but other than that, like none of the other characters really show up again. So yeah, it's definitely different than I thought it would be. But obviously a lot of like the gory parts and the creative like traps and stuff like that. That's what I expected. So as for this movie itself, I think it's a pretty solid movie. I think some of it is dated, just in like the way it's edited and stuff like that. But overall, I think it's a cool story and how they kind of give you bits and parts of all the different storylines and they sort of tie together in the end. And it's got me excited to watch more of them, even though this might be the best one, or a lot of people.
I'm very excited to watch it with somebody that's not seen all the other ones. You got 6 fresh movies coming up.
And not fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh yeah, I want to check that after.
It goes downhill on everyone.
This one's fresh though, right? I'm pretty sure I'll check.
I think this one was okay.
It was like a 7 or something on IMDb at least.
Yeah,
so it's not bad.
Did watching a second time, did that make you like, dislike, or just stay neutral as far as like a second watch? Because obviously the first watch was the big twist. There's all these reels. So on a second watch, when you know what the twist is and things would happen, how did that? Because I do feel like watching the movie a second time is a kind of different experience because you're looking at stuff. Also, you know the guy on the ground is.
I feel like my viewing experience from watching it twice now, I don't think it really changed.
Yeah.
Like obviously, like I know what happens, but I also kind of forgot about a few things. Obviously, the guy in the room being alive, I remember that twist. But like some of the other characters and storylines, it's kind of just dissipated over time. So no, I don't think there was really any difference between my first and second watch either. Because the story is like, I guess there's a bit of complexity to it, but it's pretty simple. When like the last 15 minutes really ties it up together, buttons it up all nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you want to go next, or should I continue the circle?
Either way, I'll leave it up to you.
Oh boy, I'll go. When I review a lot of movies and something like, I'll use like a Civil War as example, I've given that like a 10. And there's different spectrums of how when I talk about films, there's like movies that are my fandom and I love as like I'm really invested in that and I'm a geek. And then there's like something like Pulp Fiction where I would put that as a 10. If you put them beside each other, Pulp Fiction is this much better film. But it's just, I gave Civil War as like a 10 out of like excitement and I didn't have negatives, things like that. So with this, I have that fandom for Saw, but I can take that out and I don't think it's a top 10 best horror movie because there's so many good horror movies. I think it's 100% in the top 20, maybe top 15 for me, because I think the way it's done, the twist, the way it tells the story, and that's the thing, like Dylan touched upon it. With the last few movies, you can just talk about being torture porn, and I'm going to, okay, 100%. I could have a fun debate with you, but it pretty much is. There's a middle chunk where I still feel like there's like a good story there, and there's good characters, so I could really debate you there. This is the one where I think I could wipe the floor with you, because when you look at the traps, and we'll get into them later, there's not that much violence. There's a lot of implied violence and a lot of stuff off screen, like to jump to. Like when Gordon cuts off his leg, you see 2 shots of him just cutting his leg and then it cuts away. You don't see his leg, you don't see a dead limb, like anything like that. Yeah. Like that's the thing where the first one I think is really about, it's kind of, the acting I think is a little dated at times, like it's a little cheesy, but at the end of the day it's like a good character study of 3 people. One, this Jigsaw guy of like, okay, why is he doing it? Why does he have these morals? And then these 2 guys of, okay, if Jigsaw's picking these people that are terrible or throwing their lives away, why are these 2 doing it? And I've always thought it's such a fun way to, like the way of just putting them in a room and the flashbacks, which most movies, flashbacks can kind of be annoying or kind of just feel like a clutch, where this, or a crutch, not a clutch, I don't know why I said clutch, but they utilize it in a way that I don't think you ever feel bored by it, and I think it's one of these films that is more, in 20 years, that's why I think we're doing this retrospect, will look more important, because after this, how many movies became about like grossness and traps or like bloody kills? Like I think after this you could see horror movies and their kills and the way they do things are a lot more grosser and brutal than they used to be. So I think that has, whether you like that or not, if you don't then you're gonna hate this movie, but they created the like torture porn franchise. This was at a time horror movies weren't really about scares. It was about, how can we gross the audience out? And this kind of, set the foundation. I think the sequels take people that wrote and directed sequels, some of them took the wrong things and just upped the traps instead of the story. But I think honestly, like, taking my fan, I think it's a top 20 horror movie, and I'm excited to talk about it. And yeah, I love the whole franchise. I've talked about that before, so I won't get in that. But yeah, I think Saw is a top 20, one of the greatest horror movies of all time, and maybe the best twist of all time. Probably my favorite, because I remember the first time I saw it.
Blew my mind.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, I just felt shook, as the kids would say.
Shit shook me, fam.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, Dylan's $1,000 glasses just fell.
$1,000.
Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
Rich.
000.
Yeah, all that podcast money.
So back when this movie first came out, I remember my mom rented it back in the golden days when you could rent movies.
Blockbuster. Hashtag it.
And
Save Blockbuster.
I came downstairs. Save it. Yeah.
What's gonna come back first, that or Hannibal? I wonder.
So I came downstairs and she paused it, and I was like, "Oh, what are you watching?" She's like, "Oh, you can't watch this." And then a couple years later, the second one came out, and by that time she was like, "Okay, you should check this out. Like, it's really good." So I watched the first one and the second one, and I was just like, "Holy shit, I freaking love this." And then I ended up seeing the third one in theaters, and by that point, I really didn't know what was going on anymore. So I just kind of continued to see them, just because I was like, I liked the traps, and I liked watching what people do and all that.
It gets very complicated in the middle. There's a lot of storylines
So
going on.
that's the thing. I really didn't know. So in the last couple days, I've actually watched all the way up to 4 already, and just been taking notes on my phone. And I'm actually like, holy shit! Like, there's a lot of shit going on. There is a huge storyline. There's a whole bunch of interconnected webs, and I'm like, this is actually better than I remember.
I think it's like the MCU before there was an MCU. Like, I honestly do. Like, I don't think Kevin Feige looked like this is what Marvel needs to be. But like, there is so much like something they'll do in movie like 2 won't even like it won't even resolve until film 4, and you're sitting around and you're like, what does this fucking note mean? And then you're just like 5 movies later, like, oh man, they paid it off. So it's like the weird like MCU.
I made notes in my phone. I was like, what the fuck is this doing in this movie? And then I'm watching later. I was like, oh shit! And I put a note in my phone. I was like, that's where it's connected to.
Yeah.
So, as much as it does go downhill in some ways, it is still really cool because it is such a long storyline. So the first one is definitely really different because, like you said, it's not so much the gore and people's limbs getting ripped off and this and that. It is definitely about starting the universe and giving everyone an idea of what Jigsaw is about. And I don't know, this movie, absolutely, I loved it. When I first saw it, watching him stand up at the end, oh my god, it was so good. I love the series. I still do. I'm excited to see Jigsaw. I'm excited to talk about the rest of them. I've rented them on Xbox. I've paid money to watch the rest of them.
Wow.
That's how excited I am. So, it's dedication.
I did love one thing while you're talking. The first Saw is the highest rated at. Oh my goodness! The first Saw is the highest rated at 48%
48.
on the middle. So they did not look kindly, and I can kind of see why. Because honestly, I recommend them Taylor, but there's a few documentaries of Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, and they're the Friday the 13th one's 4 hours or 8 hours, and the Nightmare is like 4 hours. And like if you look back at all those movies that are like classics and everyone loves, those are teared apart by critics. Like most horror films are not reviewed that well, so it's not like a big surprise you look at Saw. Like something like a Conjuring, which he directed as well. That was like a rarity when I think it's like an 85 or something on Rotten Tomatoes. Like critics aren't usually the biggest fan because it's just like the kills or even that stuff that they set up. They might be like, well, it doesn't pay off in this movie, so that's like a big con,
So because I have been looking at them on Xbox, it's definitely been like it went down and then it was. I don't remember.
It goes back up a little.
And then there's like 28 and then 17, and they're just
12.
like slowly going down. I was like, oh well. So I don't know. I definitely have a different appreciation watching them kind of right after another without waiting that year in between each one, though.
That was, before we get right into the film, that was some of my favorite thing is because I saw, except for the first one, I saw all of them in theater. Thank you to my dad who took the sick little young Travis to see all these. He was the only one to go, but like. Because for a while it was like every 2 years, and then after 4, I think it was one every year, which I think eventually kind of led to maybe its downfall, because I think people like got Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, like tired of it. Like I think it was just like, I think it was another, no, but those are franchises that were yearly, right? Saw got that where it's just like, oh, people that didn't like it were like another one. They just made so much money, but that was the thing when a twist end, especially in some of the later sequels, and you're just like, one's coming out in a year. That felt like the longest year of my life. Just like it feels like it does now. Like I said with Marvel movies, you're like, oh, I can't wait to see like Star-Lord and Iron Man. Like, let's just get there, let's get there, let's get there. And that's what these, like, the twists do well. I think we'll talk about later. I think the problem is with the other movies, they always feel like they have to up the twist, and some twists are kind of meh, but, like, I feel like, this is... You're never going to top this. I don't think they ever did, but there's some good ones.
The thing is, too, because it wasn't, coming out with another one, there was no announcement of the second one at the time.
Yeah.
So you weren't looking for some crazy twist to happen at the end.
And this could have been a solo movie. I don't think the original people ever really intended to be this. Like, I think you see, like, the universe setting up a lot in, like, 2 and 3, but this was... Because what originally happened, the two guys that, directed and wrote this was, like, an 8-minute short film that came out in 2003, and it, like, went to festivals and whatnot, and someone saw that and made, like, oh, let's make a movie. And it's very funny because... Like, Lights Out, he did that. James Wan saw the same thing. He saw the short film, and he got the guy who did that to direct a movie. So it's like this history repeating of itself where, like, it's going on. So, yeah, it was just a short film. They made it, and then they made a whole film, and then it was, like, because it cost, like, I don't know, like a few $1 million, and I think it made, like, somewhere, I'll look it up for the end of the podcast, but it like 10 times the budget because it was so small. And you can tell, it's like, look at the traps. They're pretty basic. The bathroom's pretty basic. At one point, they talked about it was going to be an elevator instead of a bathroom, which I'm very happy it's in a bathroom because I feel like an elevator would have been way too small. But yeah, like I think they didn't even know what they had on their hands until it came out, and then it blew up for a while. And it was until Paranormal Activity. I think this was like the horror franchise for a while. So
yeah, it's good. I don't know. I'm excited to find out what you guys thought.
Well, let's get into it. Do we want to start with characters quickly? Or not quickly, but how do we want to start with this?
Yeah, no, I was thinking about that earlier. Like, I don't really know where you start with this.
Let's just start with the person we meet first. Let's start with Adam. We'll get to Jigsaw eventually because we'll probably talk about Jigsaw as we go along. Let's start with Adam. The very first shot is him in the bathroom. He's sleeping. They lay that nice little Easter egg of the key was there the whole time, wrapped around his poor ankle. Taylor, you can start because you're at that end of the table. What do you think about Adam? I feel like you would like Adam. I feel like you're Adam.
Is it wrapped around his ankle?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is because it's designed so when he moves...
Continuity error!
Yeah, why?
Later, when they go back to this, it's dropped on his chest in a later movie.
Oh, yeah, it does, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Continuity
There's
error.
a couple of those, yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Why do you think I would like this character?
He just seems like you for some reason.
Wow.
Yeah,
He's
I don't
like a
lie
freaking freak.
or try to take pictures of
he
you.
just says, I bet that's a lie. He just says outrageous stuff, and he just says stuff that is very Taylor Field-like, just stuff that doesn't make sense, which we'll get into, but...
I like, at the beginning when you, at least for me, when you see him, like, I mean, you're wondering, like, why he's in this situation, like, he must have done something really bad, or, like, pissed someone off, or who knows, but, I mean, he, as a character, I mean, he's got a lot of mystery to him, and I like kind of, like, he seemed innocent, I guess, at the beginning. Like, I guess that's the whole point of it, to make him seem innocent. But, I mean, for me, at least, he really seemed like he didn't deserve to be in this situation. And just as it progresses along, you just see, like, well, why doesn't he be more of just, like, kind of... Why doesn't he explain more about, like, what he's been up to, like, inside the story? Why doesn't he try to help, like, the doctor, I can't remember his name, just try and get out of this situation and work more as a team? And it pisses me off, like, as he kind of develops as a character, that he just doesn't... He's just kind of shady, I guess.
Yeah, I don't have this in my notes. I'll say that I think the first few moments of the film, it's kind of switched where I think you did bring up a good point. He seems innocent, and Dr. Gordon's, like, really, like, stern and really, like, to the point. And not really that likable, and I feel like at the end of the film it kind of switches, where, like, I don't think we can talk about after, like, I don't know if what he was doing was, I don't know if it was trap-worthy, we can talk about that after, but, like, it still was, like, something shady, right? He's going against someone's personal life, so it does kind of switch, where as it goes more, you find out about Dr. Gordon's family, and maybe he's a nicer guy, and then Adam's just kind of a dirtbag, I guess.
A dirtbag.
Yeah.
I don't know why it took him so long to really remember how it, like...
Have you ever been drugged? So I don't think you can say that.
I took it as... Because it happened right after he got shocked, is kind of when a lot of his memory came back. So that's what I kind of figured, like, that's how I explained it in my own head, I guess.
That's how Dylan does when he can't remember something. He just goes and, like puts
his himself?
finger in a socket and, like, oh.
I do it for a lot of things. For a lot of situations.
Boy. Dylan, about you and Adam? How do you feel about Adam? Which I'll point out, this guy he's not a professional actor, he was one of the writers.
He was the writer,
yeah.
I think like acting wise he was okay. But I mean, as with like most of the characters in the movie, they're not really supposed to be that likable, I guess. And so he was a decent character. I like him enough. I think he's fits the role perfectly for like what he was trying to do. And I think even though he's just like okay at acting, I felt like take the cheesiness out of it for the most part. I kind of believed or like understood his situation and his reactions. And I really like the like how he is kind of like this young guy who is just like doesn't know what he's doing with his life. He's kind of a mess. He's like taking pictures of people because that's what he needs to get some food. And then on the other side of the room you have this doctor who has like his family, and even though it's not a perfect situation, he's got his life together and he's successful in some capacity. So I guess I don't think any individual character on their own in this movie is like stand up, but it's all of them working together and how they bounce off each other and how they're all connected that make it work. And so I think from that perspective, Adam is great.
Well, because it's a good point, and I'll talk about like Adam the same way when you said about the characters not standing out. I think they get the benefit in the franchise, as you'll see, like of them being the first two, they really stick out. And that's the thing, when I watch these movies, I love Dr. Gordon because I think I love the actor. When you really like watch the character, there's not too much to him, but the whole time you're always just thinking about, oh, Dr. Gordon, you're thinking about like what, because the movie leaves what happens to him like very how do you say it? Ambiguous, thank you. So it was always this thing like, where's Dr. Gordon? That's something like it built up in my mind. But really, he's not like an amazing character. There's nothing that much to him, but like I think because of the first two, you kind of get that introduction. I think you did a good point too of like it. Like when I brought the character study stuff, that's why I feel like it's this guy that is, like you said, a complete mess versus this guy who is like, he even says like, I had everything in order, I did everything right in my life, like it was all perfect until this thing happened. So I think they did a good job. Even like just the way he's dressed, like I know he's like kidnapped, but like I think they were smart. Like he is like a business suit, kind of like a nice dress shirt. He has like some flannel. He has like a very loose, like kind of dirty shirt. It could be the bathroom, but like he doesn't look that well put together. His hair and everything like that. So yeah,
I like Adam better than Gordon. I actually really have, I don't know, I just don't like him. His interactions, it just, I guess maybe I can sympathize more with Adam, just trying to do what you can to make ends meet, and, maybe not so much the creepy photos of people, but, not super, like, business suit and, that kind of lifestyle, work every day. So I don't know, I don't like Gordon's character, and there's a lot of times in the movie where I just found where Adam acted more realistically. So, I don't know, especially, like, it is kind of hard, I guess, to put yourself in that situation of being locked in a bathroom, but I just think that Gordon just acts really weird, like, getting mad.
You mean like the actor himself? Or do you think it's more so because the character is like intentionally supposed to be like disliked?
I think, yeah, for sure it's supposed to be the character is disliked. But there's also like some of the makeup on Gordon. I guess I'm kind of transitioning, but like he looks, even before he cuts off his foot, he starts to look really sick, and his makeup, his face is super white, and his eyes start to get the purple, where Adam still looks normal, so I don't know what's with the
Well, to me, but he's been through much, Adam's life is on the line, but not only is he about to cut his own foot off, he thinks, like, his family is being murdered on the phone, so that's always the way I took it, that, like, it sucks that you're about to die, but, like, for me, I'd rather die than hear my wife and my child, and that's all he knows. All on the phone, all he hears is the slam and then them screaming.
He starts to look like that before.
But I think that's still when he's trying, like, I think once he sees that photo, that's to me where Gordon switches right away, is when he sees that photo of his family, and that's where he becomes more likable, because it's not, that is, like, because even then, him, like, later on, like, we're jumping to the end, but him shooting at him, to me, I, like, respect, because it's, like, he's completely turned to, they did say they had it, like, they'd get his family, but I think that's when it really set in of, like, oh, I really have to do something, and I think it shows that, like, it's getting worse and worse for him, where, like, Adam, to me, I like Adam a lot, but the only thing, and I think this fits his character, I don't feel like he has much of a spine, and I don't feel like he would have, like, if he still had a saw, I don't think he would have cut his foot off, and I think that's why I like Gordon more. I like them both, but I think that's why I like Gordon at the end of the day more, is because, you know what, my family's in trouble, I'm going to cut my leg off, I'm going to do it. Where Adam, I don't know if he would do that, and they kind of set that up, like, he's kind of a, like, slimy guy, and I don't know if he would. Like, he just kind of be like, I'm just going to hang out here, like, he hopes that Gordon's going to get the police, but I don't know if he's a doer,
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I think that explains what the makeup is for his face and everything
It's
like
supposed
that.
to be just like the worry and the
Yeah.
general.
And then when he cuts his
Stress.
leg off, that's just supposed to be like blood loss. And plus, there's not too much of a budget on this, so they're like, what are we gonna do?
Hmm.
Do you have anything to add more on as far as Gordon?
See, it is hard because I definitely am pulling things from like things you learn later, so I'm trying to just go back to just this one alone.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I mean, so the whole reason that he is there is because of the brain tumor, right?
Gordon?
Yeah.
I didn't take it as that. I took it as he's there because I took it as he's kind of being careless with his life. Like that's the thing. Like he has his perfect life. He's like even then it's not like that's where the Jigsaw thing's kind of it's not like Dexter where it's like this person 100% killer. It's like okay, it's to Jigsaw this guy's he's throwing his life away. But at the same time you see him and his wife fighting all the time. So it's like okay, well they're fighting. Maybe this leads to why he's having an affair. But that's the way I took it that. He has like a great, he has great job, nice home, nice family, and he's like kind of throwing it away to be with this nurse, or maybe he's just not caring. Like even the way he talks to his wife, he's like, oh, like there's nothing wrong, like he doesn't really want like he has a life, but he's not really living it. That's what I think is kind of the like you're not living your life to the fullest.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't his wife even say a line? Something like that, like, are you even happy? Like, some question like that.
Yeah, well, she says something like, oh, just even get mad at me, show some sort of emotion.
Right.
And he just, gives her a kiss on the cheek and leaves, So I think it's just, he's like, why do you smile over there, Taylor?
Oh, I just think, it sucks to be him.
Why? So how do you feel, Gordon? I'll jump to you then.
I mean, at first, because he was already awake and he looked very calm in the situation, I just kind of feel like, okay, he has some kind of sinister kind of idea what's going on here, but then you see he's in the same situation. I mean, you just kind of feel like, oh, he's very curious because he's calm, and then it just totally spins around, and he just gets so angry, which for good reason. I mean, everything that's kind of thrown at him with his family and stuff. But I feel like he was someone who, because he definitely squandered his kind of life away and everything in that sense, but I feel like he would have eventually come around to kind of change around on his own, but...
Really?
I don't think so. I think that's the point of this, that Jigsaw's trying to, propel that.
He propelled it alright, yeah. Well, I mean, he definitely did. And I mean,
So you think he, the Jigsaw thing is almost like a catalyst for him to change his life, but he was already
I
going to
feel,
be on that path eventually?
I feel like he eventually might have gotten on that path, but I mean...
You
we'll
see
never
signs of it because he does turn the woman away,
That's true,
right?
yeah.
When he tries, and that's where I think they do that on purpose with Jigsaw to be to leave that up. Does this guy really deserve it? Does Adam really deserve to get put in a trap for taking photos? That's where it's this guy has a god complex, right? So it's just his idea of, okay, Gordon might may not be the worst guy, but he's still not appreciating life. But I don't know if he would have made the whole turn, but
Got 10% the way there.
10%.
Jigsaw's giving him the other 90%.
Wow, that's a lot of percentage. Yeah.
I think he's a really well done character. I guess the development that happens for him, his journey, how when for me, even on the second time watching this movie where I forgot some of the details, you really get this vibe that he's maybe in on it, or he's part of this experiment, and even just the way the stern the nature of how he talks and how he explains oh, do this or put the tape in or this, that, and the other thing. You kind of get vibes that maybe this guy's in on it, and then obviously it kind of rolls over and develops, and then I guess when you see the picture or or you get the scene, I can't remember the order, where you see his family, that's when you know that he's not in on it and that he's just being fucked with, I guess, and even he was being set up at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And then that just devolving into going a little insane, and then eventually cutting his own foot off and all that stuff. So I think the character, as much as he's not likable, I think he it's a great character.
Yeah,
a very a flawed character, but really well done.
Yeah, I agree. I was saying earlier, not to discount he doesn't have too much character, and I say that in the sense of he's only in the movie for an hour and a half, and plus lots of that is with other characters. So I mean he is playing, I'd say, a semi one-note character, but I think the actor does a good job of portraying it better, because I think some other writing would make it very meh. Like I said that with Mads Mikkelsen and Doctor Strange, where I think the character would just be alright, because Mads is in there, he could make it better. I really like, I never know how to say his fucking last name, Cary Elwes or Elwes, I've heard it pronounced 100 different ways. I've heard it pronounced 100 different ways. But yeah, I think he does a good job.
100, hey, I don't think...
100. It's crazy.
That's a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Man.
But no, I think, like I already pointed out, but like his journey of being very stern, and I think you do side more with Adam to the end. You are sympathetic with him, and I think he does a good job of like, I think he does a good job of when he loses his mind and goes insane, when he's literally just like shaking the chain and he's like yelling and everything like that. I think it's fantastic, and just even when he does cut his foot off, and like I always remember, because always that waiting of like, oh, could he come back? Would he come back? And that last moment of just like, you know, when he's crawling and he's just like, oh, like I'll be back, don't worry. And it's just like, and that's where I guess I defend me, because I like, because he looks so ghostly and he's just crawling. But I think everything that the script tells him to do, he does good. When he has to be like emotional, he's emotional. When he has to be kind of an asshole, he is. When he has to be confrontational, he is. So I always liked him, and I liked him. I found he has like a weird kind of charisma. Like, I don't want to say like compare, because he's also a doctor, but something like a House. Like, I didn't watch much House, but everyone said that about Hugh Laurie, that like, oh, he's kind of a dick, but you like watching him kind of do his thing, and that's how I felt about this. And I think they do a good job of his character, as you like alluded to, and they show like he was almost being framed, or like they kind of use him as the conduit to set up Jigsaw, like showing all the flashbacks, and obviously he has that sit down with Amanda. So yeah, I really liked Dr. Gordon. I was a big fan. I'll ask you this, Dylan, because you haven't seen anything. We have. What do you think becomes Dr. Gordon? Do you ever see him again? Do you think you do? If you do, did he make it? If not, because this was honestly, I was someone that was on the Saw forums a huge point in my life, and this was always the big. Oh, they were huge on IMDb. They were actually one of the most like in top 10 like most popular forums all the time, because it's always theories. You'll see as the movies go on, like all theories. Yeah. What do you think could happen?
Honestly, I haven't really put too much thought into it, because I don't think I was thinking about it much until today, that like most of these characters are, you know, talked about or explained more. So I think I would say at this point, I think he'll be back. Based on like what happens in this movie, I would have to assume that he lived and made it out of there at least. So, but yeah, I haven't really given too much thought into that. Well, one more thing I wanted to say I really like about his character is, like, obviously there's that scene where his daughter sees like the bad man, and then
Taylor.
She sees Taylor, and then she goes downstairs, and you know her mom asks Gordon to go like check out, and then he's like, you know, I'm doing work and stuff. The classic scene, but then he switches, and he actually does put away his computer and go in there and like read her story and do that weird foot thing and all that. But,
oh yeah, it's just put you into the market. I don't think it's that weird.
I don't know.
But like,
it's probably not that weird. But no, what I'm saying is I like how he, like, I like the dynamic that something with him and his wife, like maybe they don't love each other anymore, but he's staying with her because it's easier that way. And obviously he's having an affair and all that, but he loves his daughter a lot. And it seems like even the scenes where they're on the phone and he's still in the bathroom, like he just seems so much more emotional when like his daughter, when he hears his daughter's voice as opposed to his wife's voice. And obviously he cares about both of them. Yeah. But I think that was like, they portrayed that really well. That just like how much more he cares about his daughter than his wife.
Didn't the daughter say that there's someone in her closet, like specifically?
Did he say that or the bed? Because I think doesn't he check under the bed?
I don't think you actually see him look anywhere.
Yeah, he doesn't check anywhere.
I think he just like tucks her in.
Well, we'll get to that scene because I have a few problems with that scene. It's a very random scene. But before we move on from where I will bring up, that's why they could have easily had him still working on his computer and kind of just reluctantly seeing his daughter went up. I think that's where they do a good job of making you somewhat care or leaving it ambiguous up to if you think Gordon should be there or not. Because yeah, they could have just made him this asshole who's cheating on his wife, but they made him you see him at his home, like he still cares about his wife to a point right now, even though they're having problems. He still loves his daughter. So I think that helps with making you, especially at that point in the film, he's just kind of been an asshole at that point, so you get to see like the family side of it. Exactly. So there's not too many other like characters, I guess, that are like, who do we want to talk about next? Like obviously there's still Jigsaw we can talk about, but
the cop,
yeah. Danny Glover, I'll start. I like him. I think it's pretty, you know, one note, but I like the it's the classic. My partner died, and I have some notes which we'll get into later why I like how they did it. But I think having the cop that's obsessed with catching the killer is always a fun storyline, and he does it good enough, I guess. Yeah. I never loved this character, but I thought he served his role, Detective Tapp. So.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good way to describe it. Like, I thought he was okay. I found that I really liked him in like the first half of the movie, but then the second half not so much. And I don't really know what the reason for that is.
Did you like him with his partner more, perhaps? Like, did you like the dynamic of those two?
Not really. There
Okay.
wasn't. I don't think there was a whole lot of
Shunnamus.
chemistry between those two.
Yeah. Well, because the second half he's more playing super crazy guy though. Like the first half he's really like composed, like I'm gonna catch the guy. To like, I have in my positive. I like when he's literally talking to the picture of saying like we're gonna close the case. We're gonna close the case. Like I think they do a good job showing him that he's like completely lost his mind. But he is weird. He's walking around. He's kind of breathing weird, which I guess his neck got slashed. But he's
He
like
did get slashed.
he feel like he's not that smart anymore after that incident. Like he's kind of
that scene when his neck gets slashed. I didn't notice it the first time, but when I was watching it today, it totally just reminded me of Taylor because the way like
everything reminds us
that the like robe costume that character had on, and the fact that he had a fucking wrist blade, I was like, this guy is straight out of Assassin's Creed.
And this, were they inspired from this? Because this came out before Assassin's Creed, so did they see this? Like we should make a video.
Actually
based
says
off of Saw.
based on Saw in the credits.
Oh wow, I never caught that. Wow.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel on Detective Tapp? And you can throw Sing in there too, because I have nothing bad about Sing. I thought he was a fine guy.
I don't even remember who Sing is.
He's his partner.
Yeah, see, I don't.
The Asian guy?
Yeah.
Who gets blasted by the shotguns?
Multiple. Bad way to go.
Okay, yes. No, I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do.
Love that trap though. With
I
the
don't know. When you
coppers.
were like saying, you're like, oh, let's talk about other characters. I could think of.
There's not many.
Yeah, the guy from Lost, and then I was like, I don't even know who else there is, and then you guys said the detective. I was like, oh yeah. So obviously he wasn't that amazing if I didn't even remember who he was in the movie until.
You also blasted through 4 movies in like a day.
That's true.
It's true. It's kind of all melded together. I won't lie. I don't know. I do like there's some good aspects, but like the whole renting a hotel room across from like Gordon's house and like staring into Gordon's house all the time seems kind of. I don't know. It's a little weird.
Mm-hmm. I think he's a weird guy though. At that point,
He definitely got a lot weirder after he went into that fucking place with all the dioramas set up.
Yeah.
His partner got shot with 5 shotguns.
What about a warrant? Who needs a warrant? Well, you just fuck your guys' case right there. I have that in my notes. Like they just completely. Even if you catch this guy, he's not gonna go to prison. But you know, good job, Tapp.
Yeah, I think the reason I like the character more at the start is because in the flashbacks. And this might seem like a weird thing, but in the flashbacks, he like more serves as like a introduction to the plot, and like this is what the Jigsaw killer is. This is the history of him. This is like the other victims, and then they introduce through that character the survivor of Amanda, and then it goes on. I think when it became more about his like individual story, I didn't quite care as much because I really wanted as a viewer, I really want to know who Jigsaw is and what the fuck his story is and why he does what he does, how he picks his victims, but I don't care so much about the detective, and it became like a 50-50, I guess, where you were learning a lot about him. I guess you weren't learning a lot, but
he's taking up scenes, like
so
he was taken away from the action in the bathroom, especially lots when you catch him like recording everything. It's in the mid of they're finding everything out because right when he says like who paid you, he's like oh big tall black guy, and that's right when they're fighting and figuring everything out. So you get reintroduced to Tapp and his like. You know,
maybe it's because
detective work.
His role of like you're learning about Jigsaw through this character turns into you're learning about the guy that Jigsaw hired to do this like bathroom experiment. The guy from Lost.
Well, even though I will,
I think that's maybe why I didn't like by the end of the movie. I was like, this character he's just okay.
I was gonna say by the end, but when you were watching it the first time, did you maybe feel different because they kind of set it up to feel like that is Jigsaw, or did you never?
I forgot about that today as well. When I was watching it, I was watching. I'm like, I know that the guy in the bathroom lying on the floor dead is not actually dead, but I don't remember who he is, and then it kind of clicked again. Like seeing that character, I thought he was Jigsaw for most of the movie, even though I'd seen it before. So that's what I mean. Like I forget little details here and there, and then when that character like makes a lot of stupid mistakes, and I was like, why is he making that mistake? But then you realize that he's not actually this like psychopath mastermind. I'm like, okay, makes sense now.
Yeah, and why is his voice not as cool as it was earlier? You know, like I remember watching.
And how did he get off the island?
Oh God.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I have nothing to add as far as Zap. Oh, you didn't even talk about Tapp. What do you think about Tapp? I feel like you're gonna like Tapp.
You feel like he's gonna like a lot of people.
Yeah, just like I
Taylor
didn't say about
likes
Dr.
Jigsaw.
Gordon.
It's
though.
true.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
You know what I mean?
you can take on a predator, but sometimes you just can't get a
Oh,
Jigsaw.
don't bring up that terrible movie.
I don't know what that means.
He's in Predator too. It's not a good
It was a
movie.
good one.
Wait, who's in Predator 2?
Danny Glover, Detective Tapp.
As Detective Tapp?
He's a
Yeah, he's
That
dealt with
fucking
Jigsaw.
crossover.
Yeah.
I don't,
That's a
Jigsaw-
crossover we would joke about a year ago.
Jigsaw v Predator. It's coming in
Is
2019.
Wow.
it actually like Predator 2 or he's
Yeah.
in Predator, comma, and then like TOO?
No, it's 2.
Predator
Oh.
2. Predator in New York.
But they spelled it
But
out.
in New York?
Yeah, that's not the subtitle, but that's the movie. Predator
Predators
comes to
in
New
New
York. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not good.
But
But Tapp.
yeah, but Tapp. Yeah, you know, I mean, he's just a cop out to get this guy, and he's with his partner, and I liked his partner.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow! Surprise!
I mean,
Are you? Detective? I am. No.
I think, you know, a good neck slashing is gonna make anyone kind of go a little fucked up. I think so, and he did just that. He got a little fucked up, and you know, he couldn't deliver. I really was rooting for him, you know, to kind of like take on that henchman dude. And,
He
know,
does
just-
go like a bitch.
He does.
The
I
way
mean,
Zepp just like crouches down and shoots his own gun.
yeah, the gun's going like, so I'm like, okay, he's trying to put the gun in the bad dude's head and like shoot him, but then it doesn't. It goes over. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And then he
A
dies.
good note to their car chase was actually just filmed in a garage, and they put smoke around the car, and they just drove like that. Yeah, the car was not moving.
Beautiful.
Classic budget. Yeah.
That's smart.
As for his partner, though, I mean, you know, I'm like, oh, like he just, you know, he left the Glover there on the ground with his neck slashed open. And like, I'm gonna go get this guy. He doesn't even call for backup or medical or anything like that. He just,
True. Yeah. I was gonna say I wouldn't back you on the chasing the guy. I think you should chase the guy, but yeah, he should call backup.
I just feel like, you know, you know, Jigsaw's got tons of traps and shit. You think he'd be a little more careful, but you know, he shoots him down the hallway and he's running. And I think the fact that he looks up at the guns makes it even just more cringier for me. I don't know why.
Yeah, but it's at that moment where he's moving, he hears it, and he looks up. So it's that, like, what is that? And he dies. I don't think he looked up and, like, oh, what's that? And he continued to walk.
But I think it's just if you're just that scene where you're looking up and or you know the guy's like he hears something and he looks up and
are you saying cringy like that? Like that's
fact that he was-
gross?
the
or
fact that he
cringy
was-
like bad for the movie?
not bad for the movie.
Oh, that's
like,
what I thought
gross.
you meant. I think you meant cringy like
Yeah.
that was a cringy.
No,
moment.
I meant cringy like a gross like because he was staring at it as like who knows how many fucking shotguns sprayed down.
There's
on
at
it.
least like 12.
You know, you can't blame him too much for walking into that string
No.
trap because
Smart.
they've seen Jigsaw and the kind of traps he does, and they're pretty fucking complex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, how is he supposed to expect that there's the classic string tied to the gun?
And plus,
Right.
this is
You know,
kind of
I wouldn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Classic.
It is a classic.
Plus, it's like they haven't dealt with Jigsaw too much. Like at this point, they've only, I think, like who knows? Like we'll talk about more in sequels lore because it's like the timeline is more confusing than Terminator sometimes. To actually pinpoint when Jigsaw was actually starting this shit to when it actually happened. But at this point, these guys have only been on the case for like a few like murders, right? Like 3 that we know of, like that we see. So it's like I don't think they're expecting, and I think they get there and they're like, oh, we found the place, so we got him. My problem with that is I don't understand why they don't kneecap him at that point. Like I get it, like I know that like you shouldn't do that, but this guy's a sick individual.
I mean, they
Why
already
they-
have a warrant. So.
Well, yeah, I know. At this point, just say, hey, this happens a lot of times. Just say, oh yeah, he came at us and we had to kneecap him. Like. They're letting him keep his hood on,
Well, and
you know.
yeah, and then once they arrest him, he's got this fucking wrist plate. Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
like-
pretty close case.
Yeah. I do like, though, in that scene, though, when he gets shot by the shotgun, obviously it's supposed to be, like, there's a miss where he's wearing armor, but I like, up until this point in the movie, they still play with the, like, is he a real person or is it supernatural? Because I remember seeing the movie, all I saw was Billy the Puppet, and I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know if that was the person or what the deal was, so I feel like for a while they still play with, like, oh, is this a guy, or is this, like, a cult, or what, like, they don't, and when he gets shot and just gets up, I find that it's like, oh, they're showing that, like, maybe he's superhuman, you know.
To this point, I had never considered there would be supernatural components in this movie.
I did going in the first time just because of Billy the Puppet. Just because I saw that, I'm like, that's not a real person. I didn't know it was a puppet until I saw the movie. But if you think that person as a person, I'm like, something's weird going on here. That's the only reason I saw this movie. Just because I saw Billy the Pup, like, that looks scary as shit. I can't wait to see
I
this.
didn't know his name was Billy.
Yeah, I have it in my notes. I was very disappointed when they came into this place and they saw him as a puppet. I was like, oh, he's just a fucking puppet. He's not a real person. Then I still liked the movie, but I was like, damn it, he's just a puppet.
But you already know that, though, because of the scene with, like, Amanda's escape.
You're still kind of figuring out, though. He could just be like a leprechaun, you know, like some like little guy, you know, like you don't know for sure.
I thought it was pretty fucking obvious. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, I definitely didn't think paranormal either.
I was younger when I saw it, so give me some credit there. But at least when you saw him on the table, that confirmed it. At least you didn't know, because the thing was, he still bikes though, right? His legs are moving, so it's like, oh, he's just a slow guy, but like he likes setting up traps.
It's a slow
Even
guy.
the way he moves his head, like it's, I don't know, man, you're crazy.
Hey man, when you're 60, I bet you'll be moving your head like that. So
Wow.
60. It's pretty
I
young.
hope you're riding a tricycle.
You might, but it just might be slow.
I don't know
It
how
will be
much
slow.
we're gonna talk about him. We obviously learn more about him in these movies. Do we have much to say about Jigsaw? I know we have notes. We'll probably say stuff, but just overall, I don't think there's much. I think, I think they do a good job of showing his motives, and like I said, he has a god complex of like, hey, I'll put you in any situation, and you can overcome it. It's just how far are you willing to go to save your life? And he's trying, in his eyes, trying to make people better, like we talked about with Gordon, like make your life more meaningful to you. And I think the movie does a good job of portraying that when they do all those flashbacks with Gordon, like this is why he does it. They set it why he watches. So like I think Jigsaw's not really a character in this. He's kind of like a over-looming threat, and I think they set that up well. Of like
He's
the
more of an
boogeyman.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think it's done well, and I think that's why these movies were originally so popular. Was just that of this came out before Dexter. People love the vigilante, like Punisher.
Yeah,
they love
it could
the
be
like.
anything and
Yeah.
other possibilities.
Yeah, because you had those conversations like, oh, does this guy deserve it? Like for me and Adam.
Yeah, you
and
went on
Gordon,
the forums.
like, oh yeah, I did.
He
But,
was
but
a
like,
moderator.
but like even then, you'd be like, oh, in your head, you'd be like, oh, does this guy deserve it? Or be like, oh yeah, he should totally be here. You know, like the guy who, for me, once again, we'll get into it later, but like the guy who like has to do the glass, like steps on the glass with the candle, and he's just like, you've been faking sick, and it's like, man, so if I just fake sick at work, Jigsaw's out to get me. So sometimes I feel like some stuff's really warranted, and some stuff I feel like.
And that
I
one
don't
too,
know.
that was like so hard. Like the
Yeah,
whole
it was-
everything is covered in numbers.
It was outrageously hard from, okay, no, I would have been fine if it was the numbers and like he had the candle with the oil on him, but the fact that he had to put the glass there is like, this felt like the odds were stacked against him just a little bit too much in this one.
Or
you know?
even like less numbers on the wall.
Yeah, that's like, he's gonna be there forever.
Yeah, there was no way he was winning that one.
No,
I
that's,
mean, he coulda if he got lucky.
yeah, just first
Yeah.
combination, yes.
Yeah,
He's,
but
he's
see-
like, yes, and he draws the game.
But it could be like one number and then two numbers and two numbers, or two numbers, one number.
That's
two
the thing
numbers.
I was thinking about too. Like I remember back in high school when I had my locker, like I would know the combination, but I'd still fuck it up often.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah,
Yeah, I don't think he was winning
I
that.
would die
Mhm.
if I was put in that situation.
Yeah, we kind of just set the candle down and just kind of sit there, accept my fate.
Yeah.
Maybe set myself on fire.
I would at least try.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna just sit there.
You'd walk all over the glass and just.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
that-
push the glass aside.
It's either
I would spend 10 minutes to
Yeah.
sweep the glass
yeah,
first.
that or
There
you're
you
just
go.
gonna sit down bare ass on the glass, and that's not good.
I think he had
either.
underwear.
What? Did he have underwear? I don't think he did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we didn't see like
There we
flopping
go.
What's this
me
movie
above
rated?
that scene. Yeah.
Well,
PG-13 or something?
it's rated R.
Is it?
Was it?
This movie?
18A at most.
18A is worse than rated R.
Is it? Wait, what?
Rated R means you could get in with a parent or a guardian. 18A is like you can't watch this unless you're 18.
Hmm.
Yeah. Or it's like NR or like not rated to like 18N or something like that too. Like it's Did you guys have anything to say on Jigsaw or like we said the idea of Jigsaw?
I think you guys made a good point that there's not too much to the character, but from the perspective of the only person who still has only seen this one movie, I'm very intrigued to see more about him and learn what exactly he's doing, and I don't know, just see the journey. Even if it's not told very well, I'm just curious to see where they go with the
Rated
character.
R for
Yeah.
strong violence and language.
I do honestly feel like the traps aren't that bad in this movie as far as showing you the violence. Like I feel like it's very hidden. But like, yeah, what you were gonna say, like I'm excited to talk about that because they do get more into that. And I think that is actually one of the better parts done in the sequel is they do a good job of like protecting him and like I'm excited to talk about that because in this movie they don't really even give like they give his moves while he's doing it, but you don't really know, like, oh, is this a thing, like I said, a god? Like, I feel like you look at it as like a god complex, but you don't know, is it that, or is he just some sicko who likes to watch these games, you know? And that's why I like this movie too. If it's just a solo movie, it's just set up to, you have to kind of imagine, you know.
You know, Assassin Jigsaw, that's a microtransaction I would pay for right there.
Oh my
Microtransactions.
That is what, like a sick scene. He's talking shit. Blade comes out.
He runs pretty fast for a guy with a brain cancer.
Oh,
too,
he's
like,
legit. Like,
I've
you
been
don't
around
fuck with
people
him.
with cancer, and they can't move
That
that fast.
wasn't actually him, though, wasn't it? Wasn't that?
Yeah, no, that's him.
I
Because
thought it was the guy from Lost.
no, at one point in the flashback, they show from the face him with the hood.
Oh, I didn't.
Which I don't understand if Tapp saw that or not, because the way they shoot it is like, it looks like Tapp would have saw that, and I think he would have been like, that's not Dr. Gordon. I guess like his whole thing is Tapp is just like, something's happening with Gordon, and it's sketchy, maybe he thinks he's helping him,
Right.
but like, yeah, they do show him in the hood, so that's him, yeah. And his voice, think about his voice is talking.
Yeah, I've watched 4 in the last day, so, you know, it all just melts.
Jigsaw as a character, he's
He is. You are
he's-
correct.
Yeah, as a character. His idea and his belief with what he's doing, I just think it's very interesting because he's trying to, like, he sets you up in situations where you gotta like go like really step out of your comfort zone to, like, if you want to live and if you want to like escape this fate, but at the same time, like, he sets it up so that there's a way to play it fairly and that you just appreciate like life, you don't squander it, and just because his life is taken away from him now and he's just being brought just like negativity and just kind of just, this is the end, like nothing you can do about it. And so why should he be given that fate when other people who have like everything or could have everything don't have that? So I mean, like, that's why I like that. I mean, there's fairness in these traps. And
So, let me ask you that then. Do you feel that Amanda's is fair? Because really, she doesn't have to do anything for herself. She just has to freaking stab her boyfriend.
I feel like some of them are based off of like you as a person and what your life is, like what you do with your life. And in that sense, it's hard not to go into like future movies.
They are, though. This, even in this movie, you have the guy who like is kind of like faking, like he's doing the suicidal things to get attention. I don't know where the oil guy. I guess he kind of makes some thing about like you'll be burned because you burn other people at work, kind of in a way of like, I guess making them have to work longer. I just feel like they had the same job, and one day like he snubbed Jigsaw, and Jigsaw had to stay an extra 2 hours. Like, I'm gonna get fucking Patrick one day, you know, and yeah, Amanda's, yeah. The only thing that's never talked about with that guy, if he had a solo trap or not, because that's the only those are the traps that really bug me when there's people in movies that don't get a chance to live, and it's like with this guy, he has no chance to live. If he could talk, then I'd be like, oh, he could maybe talk Amanda down, and that's his game. It's like, oh, he has to, you know, get in touch and talk to her, but he has no chance. He just kind of has to lay there, so I think it's a little unfair. So that's like, those are always my critiques with these movies, is I hate traps like that, where for some reason, if someone to win, they have to kill somebody, or somebody has to die. You know, I like when it's like, oh, you could save everybody.
Right.
Someone might die along the way, but like with this guy, he has no chance. Like, he's gonna get killed. His organs and guts are on the floor.
If Jigsaw thinks you're a dirtbag, then
You're pretty
Your
much
odds
like,
are
he's
against
like,
you.
you're not even worth like the game. You're just
Yeah.
getting killed. So like, question mark.
I know, maybe his life, he treated people so shitty that he just didn't even deserve a game.
But that's where it comes in that more I am you biggity of like, does that kind of kill Jigsaw's message then? You know, like, oh yeah, like everything else,
Well,
like he's trying
I mean,
to
the
get.
thing is, this guy's pretty, like, obviously insane. He's got some mental.
I thought you were talking about the guy on the
issues.
ground. Like, we don't know that. He's just like,
I watched the prequel.
Seesaw.
So if every, you know, if not every single victim, I guess you could say, maybe doesn't deserve it from our perspective. Like, there doesn't necessarily have to be logic, like sound reasoning for every single person that he kills.
I'm excited to talk about that because that kind of is posed a little bit here and there. So, do anything we want to show before we get into notes? Because I have some notes of like random stuff to show and stuff like that. But anything particular big to get into?
Well, I think I can't think if there's any other characters in this movie.
Not really. You got Gordon's wife. You got
Lost guy.
You got like Yeah, you got Zep. I think there's not much Zep. I think he's just
No.
your red herring. He's
Yeah.
he's gonna be Jigsaw, and then when he's not, it's a great reveal of and I think he does his job well of playing a creepy guy.
Yeah.
He's
Mhm.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think we jump into some notes.
I have this classic Spider-Man retrospective. I have some quotes, of course. Adam's one of his first lines is, "My name is very fucking confused. What's yours?" I love Adam's snappiness in this movie.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I like Adam. Maybe at the end when we do the retrospective, we'll talk about maybe our 5 favorite characters out of the series. Adam and Gordon's for sure in there. Adam might be in there too, and maybe it's just because they're the OGs, like I said earlier. But I think because you only spend time with these two, they get a bit more shine than other movies because other movies have a lot more characters, or they're not in the same where they're just trapped in a bathroom. It's much more sporadic and much more about the traps. Where this is very them talking in a room for about an hour. I'd say the other hour and a half is your half an hour is your traps and whatnot, everything like that. So. I'll say one note, everyone's brought this up before. They have terrible reaching and throwing ability. The way that they throw shit.
Triggered me so much.
The way that they throw shit. Oh, why are they baseball pitching it?
I hate
underhand.
every time he did an overhand. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why don't you guys slide anything across this room? The way they edit it too is just real. I can't. There's one situation where it's a perfect little pass. But you could tell that it was passed from 4 feet away. It's
No, because Emily was watching this with me. I know the scene you're talking about. It's Adam is listening to the tape, and you know the scene.
Oh yeah, and he throws the recorder.
He's sitting down. Yeah, he throws the recorder, and Gordon hears him. He's like, "Give it to me now." And he's really stern about it. And Adam, this is the one time he does the underhand throw, so it's just a light one, and then Gordon catches it from up top, and it's so clearly, someone was offset, threw it to him.
Yeah.
But it was even then the power that Adam threw it, I was like, that wouldn't have made it across that high.
The first one is when Gordon just chucks that key.
Yeah.
I'm like,
what if it's in the bathtub?
There's a drain right beside Adam. What if that went right in the drain?
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you die because of it.
Yeah.
That would suck.
And and the other thing too, obviously it's for a movie.
Oh,
but
and he throws the cigarette across the room. That doesn't. You can't throw a cigarette.
Obviously it's for the movie, but all they have to do is just position the phone a bit further back, because I hate that he tries and he gets that case and he tries. But why didn't he use the hacksaw? He uses it and cuts his foot off. The hacksaw is pretty long.
To get the phone, or
that would have reached
his
the phone.
fucking shirt Adam did earlier.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Adam to suggest, hey man, use your shirt. I did it earlier and it worked wonders.
Because Adam spends the last 10 minutes of this movie just being Gordon, no! That's all he does. It's great, but all he's just yelling is, no, don't do this. That's all he is. So yeah, I had to put that in. The notes and everything like that are just... the reaching and everything like that, classic bad horror stuff.
Yeah, I definitely top of my notes with how bad the throwing was. You'd see something start to go down, and then the next scene it would be coming from up again, and you're that.
The wind flow in this bathroom,
Yeah, maybe that explains.
Yeah,
it could be.
I have as my positive that Adam wakes up, he talks to Gordon right away. They get into Adam finds the tape in his pocket, and then they do the thing where they tie the bath. The bath plug, and they go and get the tape. It's literally I looked into it. It was 5 minutes, and they get into the figuring everything out right away. And I like that because it could have been dallying around.
Yeah.
And the movie, to me, we didn't talk about that. I think it's an hour and a half, and I think it feels like that. It doesn't feel like it overstays it welcome. I feel like it's the perfect amount. There's, to me, maybe I could look at something in a flashback, but nothing stuck out of oh, I'm bored at this point. It's a good pace.
Yeah, I think it starts out really well. It just drops you right into the situation. You get to start to think about it right away, and then, after you're familiar with the two main characters, then it starts to sprinkle in the backstory and the flashbacks. So yeah, I think
and it kind of does it every time it gives you new information. Then it does do something else, so then you can start to kind of process what's going on. So it's not just an overload of here's everything, and then we're gonna spend half the movie doing something else. It's kind of paced nicely with information and other story.
Mm-hmm. Well, even the first time we see Adam's flashback, we see a picture of Gordon, but that's not addressed for another 20 minutes, right? He gets randomly, he's hanging up photos, and then you just see a picture of Gordon randomly. That's weird. And then that's what I love. I have in my notes somewhere. I love that the movie slowly reveals things and just strips. It's just they don't go that, and then right away Gordon finds out he was a photographer following him. They lay the seeds for later on when Gordon does find out. How did you know? How did you know about that picture? Why does my wife say you know me? Stuff like that. I like that it slowly falls apart and they slowly put things together in the movie. And yeah, big fan of that. Is it legal for Gordon to be listening to Amanda's story when they sit him down and have her come in? Which, first of all, they have her come in. I'm sure she's told the story probably at least a dozen times by now to people, family
least,
members. So she has to tell it again for some fucking doctor. And I just felt, I know what they're doing. They're trying to do that, like, intimidation, get him to crack maybe a little bit, but is it legal? Would that be legal? If, like, the detective of that branch came and be like, why is this doctor listening to the story? Like,
I don't think it would be.
yeah,
actually.
that's what I've sat down and they're just like, oh, just listen. And Gordon's like, I really don't want to listen to this. They're like, even when they're like, please, it might help. And it's like, why would it help? This doesn't explain anything.
It's probably illegal, but I feel like if they asked her permission and they told her why they were doing it, then it might be allowed, even though it might be like a legality gray area.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, with her permission. I mean, why wouldn't he be allowed to if she knows it's happening?
Yeah.
But, I mean, it also could, I guess, mess up their case, too. I mean, if he, like...
They already don't have a warrant. They break and enter. These cops give no
Yeah.
shits.
I don't know.
They're just out to catch the guy. We were talking about this earlier with Zepp in the bedroom. My problem is two things. One, he jumps out of that bed, like, right when Gordon leaves. Like, if Gordon was just like, man, I gotta come back, like, he drops out of the closet. Like, if Gordon came back, like, oh, I forgot my keys, like, he's there. Like, literally the door closes, because when they go back to his wife, she's still standing where they were talking. So, like, he had just left, and then Zepp pops out. And one, I hate when she walks in the room, Zepp's standing there with the covers over him, he's just standing there, and then, like, he looks, and he's like, and then he grabs the daughter. Like, why were you just standing there? Like, I don't know. It's like a really awkward scene. I had to shut that out in my notes because it was a strange scene, like, altogether. You know, some stuff in this movie has some hiccups. So,
You know, if I was a little kid and I went downstairs to complain that there was something or someone chilling in my room, and then I was brought up back to my room and tucked in or whatever, and everything was good, and my parent left, and I'd be like, you know, what the fuck kind of a kid am I? I know what I saw. There was a fucking person in my fucking closet.
wow.
So why the hell am I just gonna be okay? Well, this little piggy went to the market. Like, what the hell? I mean, seriously, that's a lot.
Well, your parents are telling you it's in your head, so maybe you're like, oh, it's kind of in my head.
No. My parents could say this in my head. I would not believe it. But, like, no, there was a dude in my room, and, you know, just...
Yeah, but you have to take into account, like, there's a lot of times where, you know, kids say some crazy shit, and parents kind of just, like, discount it.
But you
Right.
think he would at least look under the bed and in the closet to, like, make her
He
feel
probably
better?
has a bunch. He's like, I'm not doing this again. You know, this is
Possible, yeah.
Like when it's that cried wolf sort of situation. You know, maybe she's done this in the past when there's been no Zepp
Well,
in her
and I
closet.
guess he is a lazy father, like, lazy husband, so maybe it just
He
plays
did
onto
tuck
that
her in
more.
bed though. You know.
He
Yeah,
did
and
footsies.
he didn't even
footsies
he didn't look in the
or
closet though.
Yeah.
I feel like if the kid is specific enough about, like, oh, no, there was a guy in the closet, and you're like, oh, no, nothing. But if they're specific, like, no, there was a guy in the closet, or instead of saying, like, oh, can you check the closet? Like, there's ways to, like, word it properly. I feel
What
like,
would that movie have been like though? When he checks the closet and Zepp's just
Or
hanging out
but
in
he could
there?
have, like, looked in the closet and not seen him or something.
He did have that fucking sheet over his
Yeah,
head.
so I mean, you know, he could
He just opens up. There's just a sheet saying, "Nothing in here, Diana." When Tapp drops Dr. Gordon off, he says this comment. He says a pedophile, like he just talked about this guy who, like, a guy who played with kids, like, a bit too, like, close. He said pretty much he said pedophile lived 2 blocks from here, and he's like, that means even the sewage runs underneath this part of town. I don't understand how just because it's like a pedophile that lives 2 blocks from Gordon that this means Dr. Gordon is, like, guilty by association. Like, I find it such a strong arm. Like, I feel the stuff that they do to Gordon, like, they're not good cops. Like, I feel like the stuff that they try to, like, intimidate him or try to get, like, so, like, why does this matter? Like, that really sucks, but I'm sure there's a pedophile, like, 10 blocks from here. Like, I get what he's trying to say, that, like, oh, this nice neighborhood, but we never actually see the outside of Gordon's house. Like, we see the inside, but we don't see the outside, so we don't know that he's super well off. It just, to me, looked like he's doing well enough, and he just lives in, like, maybe an above-average home. But Tapp made it sound like this is, like, the fucking burbs, and, like, oh, even people commit crimes here. It's like...
I think his point was more so that, like, you know, we're watching you, or, like, there's no, like, safe part of town. Like, there's always
Yeah.
going to be some creep walking around. Maybe he was just being a nice, friendly cop, and he was trying to say, hey, there's a pedophile. Keep an eye on your fucking kid. Maybe if your kid says, oh, there's someone in the closet, maybe look in the closet. Maybe that's what the cop was trying to do. I don't know.
Fair enough.
That could have saved a whole lot of trouble.
It really could have.
Mm.
But don't we see his house from the outside when the cop's looking out the window?
We see the window.
Get the window?
we see the
It's
window.
a nice fucking window.
Yeah, that window.
If I had that window,
Yeah, that window's 1 month worth of paycheck. When we talk about that scene again, when they go to catch Jigsaw, I love that they look down and they see the dolls of the bathroom trap. So there's like the miniature version of showing like, oh, a person there, a person there. When I saw it the
did
first
you
time,
recreate that diorama in some sort of art class?
no, I wish. When I did see that, I was worried that this was gonna be some weird like twist, like some weird like interdimensional world thing. The very first time I saw it, I'm like, oh no,
voodoo magic?
yeah, like something like that. Like just because there was dolls, I'm like, oh no. And then when I thought about this today when I wrote my notes, I was like, man, like imagine that would be a really great like Toy Story 4, like.
Toy Story 4.
Jigsaw's just using these dolls as like to set up his own game, but then they wake up and they're like they're chained to this like demo place and like
That could be it.
yeah. So look out.
Look out, kids.
Let's see. Oh, here's I have a big, and then I'll throw it to you guys for some notes. A big thing that I hated was when they're coming up in that same scene. Jigsaw's coming up the elevator. Sing is really loud when Tapp's like, "Hey, let's see what he's gonna do," and Sing's like, "No fucking way!" And it's just like, Jigsaw's coming up the elevator. Like he could hear that. Like Sing is obnoxiously loud and is not really careful at all. My point again being these two are awful cops, but.
Well, I kind of saw it more as like while they went up that fucking elevator and were walking around, I feel like they were already making a lot of noise.
Yeah.
So while yes, you're right that he should have just shut up and like held his gun out and waited. I don't blame him too much because they were already super loud and once again, not great cops.
No. It makes sense. That's why Jigsaw is a mastermind.
I mean, obviously it didn't work out for them either way because one got his throat slit and the other one got destroyed by shotgun. So.
That's a nice way to put it. Destroyed by shotgun.
Destroyed by shotgun. What are some notes you guys have? I have some notes, but I want to throw them over to you guys.
One quick thing is that I loved Adam's fake death scene. When
Oh
he
my
smokes
god.
that cigarette, and he's
So
like
bad.
overacting times 12. Because I just thought it was great. Like I feel like that's something like that character. That totally seemed like a real character trying to fake his death. Because it's first of all like it's super cheesy. Like you don't fake death after one puff of smoke 5 seconds later. Especially because he's like, it's a slow acting poison. It's in your blood for various days or whatever he says. So it's like, nah, you wouldn't die instantly. So I thought, I don't know, I just love that.
But the whole scene leading up to that too is so bad too. He's like, oh, throw a smoke over here, and then the light goes off.
Well, no, yeah, he puts it in the blood that's poison, and then he turns the light off, and he's like, hey, you want that cigarette? And he's like, yeah. It's so awkward, yeah.
And then he chucks the fucking cigarette.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of the point, is that
Don't smoke, kids.
they try to outsmart him, but it's not that smart, so that's why Jigsaw electrocutes him, even though I don't know how that electrocuting contraption works, because the way that chain is connected to that pipe, I've always wondered that. Like, I don't know where the shocks are coming from.
Maybe I didn't look too clearly, but is it like wrapped around it, or like is the chain wrapped around the pipe? Like
yeah, it's wrapped around the. And
like for sure, have you paused it? And looked
it's
at
wrapped around it, and it's linked to like the chain again. Like the way they lock it is chain to chain, but it has the pipe in the middle. So like maybe someone let us know if that's
maybe there's like tasers in the leg part.
Maybe those are some expensive shackles.
You know, I feel like it almost worked because of the delay and him getting electrocuted. So I feel like Jigsaw is.
I think Zet was probably laughing.
I feel like he was either laughing or he's like,
or he has that fucking, what do they call it? What does he use again? Is a stethoscope, or what is it when you use the heart? Yeah, he's just like listening to his own heartbeat because he just loves heartbeats in this movie. I did think about what if that moment when Adam faked his death, and then all of a sudden Gordon's like standing there and he sees the dead body on the ground like laughing because like Jigsaw's like watching this happen and like he couldn't hold it in, so he's like chuckling and like, what the fuck's going on? But honestly, that wouldn't happen.
So here's actually a possibility. What if when they turn the light off, what if he's like meant to think that like his camera like fucked up or something? Like I could see that as like a possibility.
But their conversation literally continues exactly where it left off when the light goes out. So it's like, it's not like the camera went out and the conversation continues and it like comes in.
You're right. All I'm saying is that like that scene when you see, what is that guy's name? The guy from Lost, what's his character's name? Zep. So when you see Zep there, like, I don't know, maybe he's just trying to turn the volume up or something, but he seems like, oh, what the fuck happened? Like, as in like, maybe my camera is broken.
Yeah.
I don't know, like there's a possibility for that. I like I said, I have to watch that scene like a couple times and like watch like each frame to like kind of find out if
I think the other problem is
true.
too, like when it comes back, you'd see Gordon close to like the light switch, right? Because he'd have to turn on off, and because he's shackled, he doesn't have that much movement.
That's true.
So, yeah.
I had another point. What was the other point? Okay, so as the super fans, the guy, like you guys have all seen this movie a bunch of times. Is there any like moments where you like intentionally see the body move or he's moved between scenes?
Not
like,
that I've ever caught. I don't think. Like,
is there like you as the forum goer?
Yeah.
Was there ever people who said like, oh, look at between these two scenes, you can see that he hit the taser button or something?
No, because like it's Zep doing the button thing, right? Because
not the taser.
What? I think Zep has that too. Because the thing is,
he might, but that at least all we know for sure is that the guy on the ground does have the taser. We don't know.
He does.
That
Oh yeah, he does.
So,
You'll see in another movie why you know Zep's doing the tasering.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it'll be explained that way. But in this movie, yeah, he could be that. But yeah, they show that moment in the whole like the Hello Zep part, the closing moments. They show him open his eyes on the floor. Did you see that scene in there? They do show a shot of Jigsaw right at the end when it shows like all the flashbacks and like it's like the classic Saw ending of like.
Oh, so it doesn't actually happen at any point in the movie?
I don't think it happens, but they have that. I don't think it does because you never even see his face really, Tobin Bell's face. So they do have a quick shot of him like opening his eyes and then closing them again. Right, it's right when the girl cop is. They're flashing back at her saying like, "Oh, he loves to watch," and it shows him closing and opening. Even then, I'm like, "That's fucking risky, dude." Like Adam's right there. Like when he just like, once again, what the fuck? Like, what's going on here? So, yeah, no, they do. I don't. Nobody has ever pointed out a point where it's like he's actually moving, which is probably smart because if someone caught it in the middle of the movie, they'd be like, "Well."
I just tried to Google it. Nothing really comes up for people posting about it. So.
Then again, they could have done it, and while you're watching the movie, they would have just thought it was a continuity error, probably. They should have actually done it. People are just like, oh, look, did you see that body moved at one point? You know, what a shitty-ass movie. And then when he gets up, it's like, oh, shit.
Another thing I wanted to bring up is just, like, this goes back to what we were talking about if some of this movie is, like, a little bit dated. And just, like, the way they, like, edit some of the scenes. So, like, for example, when Amanda like gets out of her chair and then there's just like this very fast like zooming like panorama around her and she's like freaking out, and then there's the other scene with the guy in like the barbed fence room and it's just like really
you better get used to that
in fast motion.
You better get used to that.
Well, I don't think it's like it doesn't like bother me. I just think it's like funny and it just shows like I don't think you'd see that in like 2017. Like, it doesn't seem like that kind of happens anymore.
You know what? I could see it happening in Jigsaw though, just because it is a running thing throughout the series.
See, I don't think it'll happen in Jigsaw because just from that trailer,
but I
the
took
vibe's
it
gonna
as
be different.
I almost took it at like in this movie. The reason I thought they did that is one, maybe that was like something that movies did back then, but also because that's a way like you can skip around with like the budget where you don't really need to show everything because it's moving so fast that. You know, like the guy in the barbed fence room, for example, it looks like he's fucking jumping through all these wires when in reality, obviously he wasn't, but it seems like it because they edited it really fast.
I think that's 100% it. I think multiple traps went, hey, how can we make this look better for the price we have? But I think they did think about like, let's think about a cool way to do it, you know? And I think that's where it became a staple. Like it does happen again in like the quick kind of like this like reverse bullet motion, like Matrix is that super slow, like this is like sped up, and I think that was the way. I do think it was a budget thing of like, hey, we can't show this guy get cut a bunch, but if we shoot it this way and he moves this way and we speed it up and do this with some music and some like flashing, we can make it look cool. And I think that's what I do. I do like it as a staple, but I think it got spawned out of, hey, how can we like save some money here? So. And I like the Amanda one where it's going around the room and because it's showing her. I'd rather that than having the full minute of her freaking out because then when we end, it's like a whole minute's gone by when she got out of the chair. So I think they do a good job that way too. If like traps that are like timed, we don't have to watch the whole thing. We can just jump to okay, there's 30 seconds left.
True.
What's gonna happen?
Yeah, I guess even like in the case of Amanda, you know that she lives, so it's like. You already kind of know what happens to her, but we're just going to show you exactly what happens because we came up with this cool like trap idea. The just random editing thing that I really liked is when they had the rotating camera of both of them like using the hand saws and trying to chop the chain. And I think it ends with like Adam's breaking and then he like, freaks out. Yeah. So I really like that. I thought that was a just cool, like cinematography thing.
Any notes, Jessica?
Sorry, Taylor. Guess I'm next.
Do you have notes, Taylor?
I have like one thing.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Do you want to say your one thing?
Yeah, sure. You know, that theme, when it builds up to the moment, like, at the
You're
end.
just jumping right to the end.
Well, I'm not jumping right to it. I'm just jumping to the movie's theme and the theme that's continued throughout the films. Like, I love the theme. Like, it's very just basic and just low-key, but it just has that, like, hype and anticipation to it, too. Especially, and it just adds so much power to a scene, like, when it's revealing something important to the story. It just,
Yeah.
I love the theme very much. I've listened to it on YouTube a few times.
Yeah, no, I think overall the film has a
You're
good...
thinking like talking like music. I was like thinking like theme. I was like horror.
The track he's referring to is actually called Hello Zep. That was the title of the song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what they call it, and they've used it in a bunch. Obviously, they use it all the time. But yeah, I think the score and the whole movie's good. At one point, I put like, there's a point where when Sing is chasing him in the basement or whatever, they use this cool like gear shifts of music and whatnot. I think the score for most of these are good. They always have the same composer and Charlie Clousey. I think that's how you say his name. But I think like the ending theme is like top 5 for most iconic like movie themes. I really do. Like, I know there is your Jaws and there's Star Wars, but I'd say it's 5, maybe 10. But like the second you hear that, especially even people that watch this movie, you would know like, oh, that is the twist ending of Saw. That because it builds with that scene.
Maybe
so
I have to
well.
watch it more, but it didn't really stand out.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
Oh yeah, no, because this is something that people like talk like a lot. Like I just feel like it's a lot of
but
movie
those are the
trivia.
people who are on the Saw forums already. So they're
True,
they're
but I just feel
fucking
like
nerds.
there's a movie trivia show that I watched and someone's using it as like their theme song entrance. Like I've heard people have it as ringtones and like.
Taylor, can you hum it for me, please?
I don't know if you're doing it, John. It's more like da na 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 na.
Okay, yeah.
That sounds like Pirates of the
Yeah.
Caribbean.
No, he got it. Now I
Dun,
know.
dun,
Alright.
dun, 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 dun.
And maybe it'll be
I
more.
don't know what you were doing, but Travis
Yeah.
definitely.
He was going for the beginning. I just went for the hit. I think that score is what makes that ending so good. Because I thought about that last night. If you take that out, just the scene, it's just him like sitting there quiet, looking at Jigsaw. The score is perfect. It is like you talked about how it builds. It is, but I have that as my last note. But like, it's phenomenal. Obviously, they use it again in other movies, but it builds with and the way they cut it too, and the music picks up pace. They'll use like the quick shots of everything, like.
And then it like ends right when the door closes.
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah,
too.
and it ends perfectly,
Yeah.
and yeah, I do think it's one of your best movie themes, honestly. Like, it is a very iconic one, and people have used it in trailers now, but anytime you do, you're like, it's not the same. Like, you gotta use it in the Saw motion, so yeah, I love Hello Zep. It's a phenomenal track.
That's your one thing?
That's my one thing.
Okay, so I have. So there's one scene there where Dr. Gordon tries the door,
Mhm.
and it's so bad because like he literally tries one way. He tries to push it. There's like no pushing forward or like sliding the other direction. He tries like one time, and he's like, "Oh no, that doesn't work," and just like accepts it. And it's just like, I don't know. I figure if I was stuck there, I wouldn't just like try sliding it one way and give up. I would fucking rake on that door as much as I could, especially because. When Jigsaw does get up, he literally walks over to the door and opens it, so it's clear that.
But I think Zep probably unlocked it before he
Zep
got
did.
in there.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
I think that's what it's implied there that he.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like you have to assume as the victim that he locked the door, but at least take 20 seconds to check.
Yeah, he like tries it once. He's like, "Oh no, that doesn't work." Well, shit. So I have that as a note because I was like, "What? That's so bad." And then. The one thing that always bothers me with this movie, no matter how many times I watch it, is how he cuts his fucking ankle above the shackle.
He's a doctor. He's probably doing it for some reason that we don't know.
What do you mean?
Well,
Exactly.
like, I would either, one...
Like, why not cut it below?
Yeah,
is what you're
cut
talking
below, or like,
so you don't
cut,
take off stuff.
or like cut off this part so you still have your heel to walk on, and you can pull it out.
I think he was just thinking, fuck it.
I think he's supposed to be just so crazy. He's just like, yeah, I think he's just like, that's it, I'm doing it. I love how he takes his shirt and he wraps it up. He's
I
just
mean,
like,
is having half a foot worth having a foot at all?
Yes.
yes.
Having a heel, then you're still the same height. You don't have one foot that's like way shorter
Don't
than
get him
the
a
other.
prosthetic, though.
He's getting those Star Fox metal legs.
Oh my god. One of the old keepers jokes.
And then another one too, when he like pulls the bag out of the toilet and he just like tosses it in the bathtub. I just want to know, like, Gordon just like doesn't hear this giant garbage bag being thrown into a bathtub.
Why would it matter to him though?
Oh, I don't think it was loud. It was just photos.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's just photo, and like
you don't think that you would question like why the fuck did you throw?
They're not
that
like
in there?
carved on stone tablets. Like they're
Yeah.
just like.
And
It's
when
quite
he
a lot of
when he
photos,
does
though.
throw them, that's in the middle of Gordon doing his hacksaw stuff too, because he's
It might
like
have been loud.
Adam looks over at Gordon and then takes it and throws it in the bathtub and goes back to sawing. So Adam does do it when Gordon's distracted.
Yeah, I guess
I
it
don't
might,
think photos would be that loud though either, because
I feel like if you're stuck in a room like that, you'd be a little suspicious of shit that's going on. So
I can't say I've never been in a situation.
No.
you know what? Neither have
Next
I.
year.
I'll give you that.
Next year, wait.
Whoa.
we
Okay.
find out.
Geek first 3-year special.
Yeah, in a
Find out which
bathroom.
one
In
of
a
us.
bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. I might have had one more thing. The biggest thing for me is always that foot thing. I just don't understand cutting off your foot above the thing.
A lot of people brought
He
that
took it
up.
with him. He put it in the
He
garbage bag.
definitely did not.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
I remembered the other thing. I wanted to ask you, because I thought of this while you're saying, because you think Gordon comes back, because you said you see him crawl away. So what do you think
Sure.
then when Jigsaw leaves behind him? That he just like walks past Gordon crawling out and he's just like, okay, good job.
Yeah, I don't know how big this building is that they're in. So
That's actually something we never learned. It's very
Yeah.
frustrating.
It's true.
You'll see, there's a lot of things like that where
Yeah.
you're like, what is happening here? How big is this rumor size? How is Jigsaw doing this?
you make a good point, but at the same time, I feel like Jigsaw might be content to let him go.
Well,
Because I feel like he did. He sure he didn't do it within the 6-hour time frame, but he still did what he wanted him to do. And the reason Zepp didn't give a shit about that is because he's simply following the rules. Like there's nothing in it emotionally for him. But for Jigsaw, it's like, okay, I want this guy to shoot what's his name, Adam.
Yeah.
I want this guy to shoot Adam, like for it to save his family and to, I don't know, maybe learn a lesson. So I feel like maybe he wouldn't kill him even if he could.
Well, the other thing that's been debated is technically...
He might also bleed out and just die in that building.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Technically, when you listen to it, he says you have 6 hours to kill Adam, and then he says there's many ways to win this. So I think even once the 6 hours go away, I think that's his thing of, oh, Adam was his way out that way, but I think him still cutting off his foot, because this was debated a lot if he won his game or not, him cutting off his foot still to me won, because it was like, okay, he could have killed Adam to get out of there, but no, he chose, that's when he says there's many ways to win this, he chose a different way to
And
get out.
that's the thing. Jigsaw has always really like followed the rules. So if the rules don't say explicitly you have to kill Adam to get out.
Yeah, it just said in 6 hours you could kill, and then when the time, I don't even think he says when the time's up anything. He just says you have 6 hours to kill Adam, and that's the thing. Like, he doesn't say you have 6 hours to kill Adam, and then that's it. You'll never get out of it. Maybe he still went with the family, so that's maybe a bit. Maybe he could still escape, but your family was gonna die. So, but technically, like I think Gordon's still like allowed to leave. Like but who knows? This guy is a little out there.
A little nuts.
We talked about this bit, but I liked just that how the movie goes of like it's two random guys and then it goes to them trying to figure out, then it's all the backstory, then like turning on each other, you see them both going insane, and then at the end you do feel like there's a bond. Like I said, I brought up, but like when he does say like don't worry, I'll come back for you, you do really feel like in that moment Gordon is going to try to come back for him because he feels like they've been through this experience. And I really like that.
I want to something I forgot to mention earlier. I like the way like as a viewer you kind of understand like the timing of everything within this world too.
They show the clock a lot too, just for like the actual time of the bathroom.
True. I mean with like I mean specifically with the flashbacks.
Okay, yeah.
Because I mean I guess you don't know exactly, but you kind of get the feeling that when the two cops are learning about Jigsaw and starting to like investigate the case, maybe that's like 3 months before this current event, and then like some of the event, like I guess like all the events kind of fall into a nice little timeline, even though if that wasn't like the order of the appearance of them, because not all the flashbacks were in a linear order, right?
No, because
I think there was a couple
Yeah.
that's like, oh, this was actually like the night before,
Yeah.
even though you like were given the impression that was like maybe a few weeks ago or something.
That happens with Adam, because like he's taking photos of Gordon, right? So you got one where he's like seeing him one night and then a different night. So
yeah, I just thought that was like well done, and by the end of the movie, I wasn't really confused. Oh, well, I'm confused about a couple things. I don't know who Jigsaw is really yet, but I I feel like the timing of everything all kind of makes sense.
I've shouted this out at the beginning of the cast. I love when he's talking to Gordon and they're getting this argument. Don't care if you cover yourself in peanut butter and had a 15-hooker gangbang. Some of the lines Adam says, just great, you know. My biggest thing, you said your biggest thing is with Gordon not cutting his foot all the way off. My biggest critique of this film that I hate, I wish they would have found a different way. I hate that when his wife gets the gun, she does not shoot Zed.
Yes.
Bugs me
Yes.
every time. It takes me out of it, and like I get it, it's plot armor, it's movie magic, but it's just like, once again, even just kneecap him, you know, just shoot him. The fact that she's just like, she tells him to get on his knees and like get down. At one point, he starts to creep up, and she goes, "Get down!" And it's like at that point, he was already trying to creep up once, and it's bugged me so much because like you kill him, like you like. At least that part's taken care of. You know, like Zeb's not going to go to the bathroom. You're going to have this foam. Like, you're going to move things along. So I never understand. And like, I think even in a court of law, if she shoots this guy, she's not going to go to prison. You know, she's not going to get a
fucking
manslaughter.
broke into their house.
Yeah, like, I think they're going to be like, yeah, especially the cops in this town. They're like, yeah, you know, it was fine for you to kill him, you know. So always bugged me. Always hated that.
It's even kind of strange because she's on the phone like talking to Gordon. He's like, "You need to get here right now." But they already talked on the phone earlier, so it should be pretty obvious to her that like he knows that something is going wrong, and if he had the ability, if he had the power to be there and help them, he would be there.
He does even say, "I'm being held captive in a room." Like he says that right to her. So. Even though I don't think he's the greatest actor, I think when Adam is fearful at the end, when he sees Jigsaw stand up, I think his face sells it really well. Like, I think he shows that, like, shockness of, like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened, and then, yeah, that's all I have for... Oh, the last one I have is the way the movie ends. I love that the first, like, 10-15 seconds of the credits is just Adam still screaming. It's no music, no nothing. Then it goes to the music, but it's, like, directed by James Wan and everything like that. I love that. It's just him screaming. Like, that's, I mean, that's to me what left me so shook was that twist, but just him screaming of like, no, don't close the door, like everything, because you do feel like, okay, this guy doesn't have a gun, he doesn't have the saw with him, like it does, like now he's literally just like left to die, you know. It's just like that to me is like that's like obviously dying is not gonna be funny either anyway, but like that has to be a bad way because you're just gonna sit there and rot, you know. It's just like, eesh, like would someone find me? Would like you just be stuck there with your thoughts. And a stinky, gross foot and this dead Zep guy. So it'd not be a fun way to spend a few days like sitting there. So, yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. I have one thing to shout before we do our ratings. I want to make this segment for every time we do these, like a game show. Which trap would you want out of the ones? So you got the bathroom. We talked about this a little. You got the glass and the numbers.
That one
you
is
got
my
the barbed
first.
wire.
That one's my first veto.
Amanda.
That one's my first veto. Is the glass floor and the safety combination.
You don't want that
because that one I feel like. Obviously, I mentioned how like locks are kind of confusing. They can be, but also I feel like that one is more about luck than anything.
Yeah.
Like it could be the first numbers you dial in, but honestly, you might be better off to just put in random numbers and not even look at the wall. Like you really have no. I feel it like. I wouldn't be surprised if none of those numbers even fucking worked. And those were intentionally numbers that didn't work. So, that one, yeah, is an instant veto for me.
Okay.
Quick question, and this might sound bad, but, so Amanda's trap, where she has to, first of all, she probably doesn't have to chop that guy up. You know, obviously she doesn't realize that he's not dead, but he could have...
No,
she knows she does.
Yeah.
His eyes open.
Yeah, his
Did
eyes
she
open.
see that, though?
Yeah.
Right.
And he
Really?
makes noises. He goes, like he does, yeah.
Right before
Really?
she starts
Yeah.
stabbing.
Why are you laughing, Taylor?
You did a perfect.
Sounds like a Wookiee. Really? Because I definitely took it as she was just like so in the heat of the moment and didn't hear his like very minor grunts.
Maybe she didn't know, but I feel like her eyes like widen when she sees his eyes open.
Then why didn't she just like activate, like fucking slap his gag reflex and get him to like puke it out or something?
Time, because then you'd have to roll him over. You'd have to do that. What if he has to puke a lot?
Yeah, I guess her timer was like.
She had like 2 minutes. Yeah.
You know, it was only like one of the 60-second ones, even, wasn't it?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, then even worse.
And she spent 20 seconds freaking out and spinning in circles. Okay, so did she know that guy previously?
It was her cellmate.
Wasn't it?
I thought it was her cellmate, which actually that wouldn't make sense because they don't do that. I felt like it was a boyfriend / like drug dealer or something. There's some weird.
I think it was
connection.
both.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there you go. The two.
So assuming that it's someone I know makes it harder. You know, obviously I've never stabbed someone and ripped out a key from their stomach anyway, so
No?
I don't know what that experience is like. I mean, I do live in Rutland, but
Yeah.
I haven't quite delved to that
You've avoided that so far.
level. The barbed wire trap, I don't even know how you get out of that. Because
You can, just a lot of cuts.
but there's like the fence all around it. Like there's no exit as far as I could see.
There is at the end. There's like that's how you get like at the very end. There is like a cutout because there's a door, but
Yeah.
obviously it closed on. So if you could get past that,
Mhm.
you know, I felt like
I
you
would
didn't
say
take the
my-
best method though. If you,
I would say my initial reaction then is I would do that one because
Mm.
I feel like I could, you know, Jack Black Pick of Destiny or like sneak through the wires and you know, I feel like I could do that. And yeah, I'd probably take some scratches and it would fucking suck, but at least I wouldn't have to kill someone or leave it up to chance, I guess. So I think
Right.
that's all of them, right? I didn't
Yeah.
forget one.
Unless you wanted the bathroom.
Cut off your own foot.
You know, I'll take Jigsaw's role in the bathroom. Like, it's a lot of that.
So you're taking the barbed wire.
What about you, Taylor?
You know, I definitely wouldn't go with Amanda's trap. That head thing, you know. Yeah, that sounds pretty painful. And
I don't think it really is that painful, actually. You
Yeah.
just instantly die. Your head explodes. So if you're choosing one, if you think you're gonna die, that might be the best one to pick, actually.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
spoiler, that's the one I would pick. I'll go, obviously, 100%. There is, you brought up, I forgot about the killing the person you may know, but like they kind of make it sound like they haven't been dating that long, so I don't know, maybe he's a dirtbag if he's some drug dealer too. I don't know.
Well,
Travis, could you
if
kill
it-
your drug dealer? Is that what
Yes.
Yeah, so if it's her boyfriend, so then say it's your secretary.
I'm
Can you
putting
kill the
myself in
secretary?
Amanda's situation where I'm like a druggy. If I knew the person in advance, then I'd take Amanda's trap. I just guess I'm talking
Okay,
the trap.
here is the real thought experiment. What if that body is Taylor?
Oh, I take the
Oh,
trap
fuck.
immediately. Yeah.
What if it's Dylan?
Yeah, see, and that's where I go.
At least you thought of it.
At least, no, it is true. I taking the person out, then yeah, I would have gone with Amanda, but
I'm very soft belly.
I lean more towards Dylan, even though I do worry about that one time you fucking
You lean towards what? Having
the
me?
trap.
Oh.
Like
yeah,
you
I thought
tried.
he was talking about you being on the
Yeah.
floor
Yeah.
too.
Thanks.
I do worry about that one time you trip and you just fall face forward into this fucking all this barbed wire, but I think the trap alone, Amanda's, it's like, okay, it's gonna give you a little joke or smile for a little bit, but I can get out of that. The killing person, yeah, I'd have to know how well I know the person, but if not, then I'd go barbed wire. But I think the man trap, if I don't know.
I would pick Amanda.
Yeah.
Either way.
So you're killing Matt?
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
sorry, Matt. Well, I'll
You know,
be
he is on, you know, severe opiates, so he won't feel a thing.
True.
It's true. You're not wrong.
His just last moments of seeing you got him like a pig.
Okay, well, so I have
Like,
tattoos.
good for you, babe.
I have tattoos and I have piercings, but I really am not a fan of like self-mutilation to the point where I could cut off my own foot or I could walk on glass.
Well, I don't think Gordon was a fan of it though. You know?
No, but I would
You
just.
didn't choose that one.
See, but the thing is, I would end up dying. I wouldn't be able to cut off my own foot. I wouldn't be able to like push myself through all this razor wire. I wouldn't be able to like walk on this glass so much that I could go back and forth and check places. But I think if it came down to it, I could stab into someone and get a key to save myself. I'll be honest.
Brutal.
It is brutal, but you know
What
what?
if it's your cat?
I would die, I guess.
The cat would chop you up in a second.
All the way around.
And then I would die, and then my cat would feast on me until it ran out of food, and then it would die too. So you know, maybe I should just kill it because it's gonna die anyway.
Yeah.
Yikes.
If it's one of my cats, well, I don't like one of them.
Oh, wow.
Taylor, if you have all time to
Someone
think.
calling
I have more time to think now. No, I still wouldn't want to do like the Amanda one.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Put
it was
Rube
like
in there.
if what?
Put Rube in there.
If it was Bruno, he'd be fucked.
Oh, wow.
I'm kidding, Ruben.
Come on.
Sorry,
Ruben.
sorry. No, I just that.
What if it's that CEO of Xbox? What if it's that?
Phil Spencer.
It depends if they have that like fancy car pull up on the stage and talk about
What about that guy from Nintendo that you really love?
Reggie?
Reggie.
Reggie.
I could do it.
100 Reggie again.
I would just let the trap take me. Make us Luigi Mansion 2.
You got me, Reggie.
Yeah. And he would do it because
Not say hi to my wife and kids. Make Luigi's Mansion 2, please.
Give a free copy of the Geek first.
If it's on the 3DS, just kill me quicker.
Let them review it.
I feel like I'd kind of lean towards the barbed wire because I feel like
Because you like Barb from Stranger Things so much?
Totally. Barb.
Barb.
I feel like I hate cuts.
You're pretty nimble. I think you could. Like,
That's
all your
what I'm
Assassin's
thinking.
Creed, like, you could probably do a gainer through like 3 of them.
I feel like he
That's
tried to
not
dive and then he just like fall right into it. Like, and Ruben's like, see, I got you.
Something like that. I don't know. I feel like the barbed wire would be definitely probably one of the most nimblest kind of things to get through. I mean, you're definitely not going to get out of there without a scratch, and I hate getting cuts and stuff because it doesn't feel good. Like, it's
You could get
horrible.
You like cutting your foot off?
yeah.
Or
Well,
shooting your best friend?
I'm definitely leaning towards the bathroom because I feel like there's, as you said, like there's different ways to play it
But
out.
what if you become Adam? What you pick the bathroom and you don't know what side you're gonna get? What if your side is
Well, then
Adam's
Adam
side?
just has to cut his foot off. Or break down that tub and try and find that key.
You know, I feel just like because the game and that whole trap was centered around, it was based on time, and so at the end of that, like, sure they had that sense of fear working against them, where they had to complete their tasks before time ran out, and they didn't know, like, obviously Jigsaw would get back up at the end. They didn't know that, like,
no shit. Eh?
What
that
idiots.
the dude would run in there with his gun on the time. Like, they didn't know all these different things, but I feel like at the end of it, like, they could have planned something out. Like, they were
They
smart
could
enough
have
to
used the door.
They could use the door, you know. They were smart enough to plan out the fact, like, oh, let's try using a fake cigarette, or the fake cigarette to pretend kill yourself. And they tried, like, different things, but, it's not just straight up black and white, this is the game you have to play. I feel like there were other ways you could probably maneuver that, especially if you work as a team and put these differences aside and not spend so much time arguing and just letting the fear cloud your judgment and just...
Okay, so but if the guy that's in the bathroom with you, his wife and kid are gonna get fucking murdered, you think he's gonna be like, oh, you're right, I'll just stay calm
You know
and
what?
work with
Fuck
you.
You
that
know
shit.
what? I'd look at him and be like, buddy, I'm sorry I took your pictures, but we're in a horrible situation. So you know what? I will help you find your wife and kid. Let's just work together and get out of here.
He might not be so
Man, he's
keen on that.
I will say the fuck this shit quote. I say that weekly. That when he just looks at his chain and he just literally yells, fuck this shit. Like, if I had killed him Friday the 13th, I'm just like, fuck this shit. Like, and that's from this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the first thing to ever say fuck this shit.
Well, no, I think of the way Gordon, his inflection when he says it. When he's like, fuck this shit. Like, I just imagine myself when I'm at my most peak of anger, just like on Gordon in the bathroom.
My quick question was the barbed wire trap. Do you guys remember how much time he had to get it?
He had an hour.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Was it an
easy.
hour?
I thought it was an hour.
If it's an hour, send me in there every day of the week. I'll fucking make it.
Well, it was a
Jesus.
1 and a bunch of zeros, so it was an hour or a minute? No.
You thought it was a minute. If it was an hour,
I don't think it was a minute. That would have been, that's just completely unfair.
Because by the time you listen to the tape, the door's already closed. And you're like,
Yeah, it's like maybe even walking there would take 30 seconds, so. Well, Taylor, you want to start? Give your just last overall thoughts. Obviously, don't need to say too much because we talked a lot about it. And then score if you want to give it.
I'm, you know, having jumped into this series very late after many of them were already released, you know, I know. I'm happy that I didn't get on board and had to wait, like, at film after film, like, however long it took. I'm glad I got to enjoy watching them consecutively.
He was in here because he was cutting his wrists, not because he was calling in sick to work.
No, that was
The
the
other
burn guy. Yeah, the guy that had the candle, that's a sick guy to work. Yeah, that guy.
Okay.
Yeah, the
I'm-
cutting guy, because he's like, oh, you'll have to cut yourself again to save your
Yeah.
life. Yeah. Yeah, Christian Bale was like, yes, that's my Batman voice.
But yeah, no, I'm glad that I was able to watch all the films consecutively and just kind of understand the whole story behind, like, all the films, and especially, like, the first one, because, like, yes, they kind of go on their own kind of separate downhill slope later on, but they all still, like, reflect that first film in many ways.
Never. He had 2 hours.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going with razor wire then.
You can even have a nap in an hour. Like, I need some.
You can literally watch Saw 1 and then get out.
Yeah, you can.
But instead, he just fucking leaped at it. Like
You're
crazy.
rating?
He spent too much time going.
Yeah, no, it's just, it's a good movie. It leaves you just on, like, not on the edge, but just wondering, like, where's the direction going? Like, how's this playing out? Like, who's really pulling the strings here, and like what character really has what going on. Like, it's just so many questions, and it comes down to a very anticipated and well-rounded ending, I feel like. And it doesn't even end in the sense where it's set up for a sequel, which is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And yet
they could have not made another one.
They could have not.
Fine,
and yet it works perfectly at the same time. Like, it sets itself up again as a sequel, even though it doesn't. Like, it's hard to explain, but I mean, it just does a great job in establishing the story in this series. And it's got its moments. I still will go back and watch it maybe once every, a decade or something. Or,
Wow.
I don't know.
Once a decade, huh? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's only been out for 1 decade.
Yeah.
He only saw it the one time.
So he saw it once last time, and now this is the one for the 2010 to 2020. So
Yeah.
2030, look out.
But I'd probably give it. I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10. It's good.
I think it's the lowest I've ever heard you give something.
No, I'm giving stuff.
Assassin's Creed was a 7, so there you go.
Yeah.
I wasn't on that cast, so.
There you go.
It still happened. Just because we weren't there.
Yeah.
You're
Doesn't
not
count.
wrong.
Bill Musk, your final thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think, even though I don't give things numbers anymore, I still think that I don't think I'd give this movie a rating now anyway, just because, while you make a good point that it, as a standalone movie, it does work quite well. I think a lot of this, like, how you think about this movie is obviously going to be affected by what happens later on, because these characters have more of a storyline and stuff.
100%.
So yeah, I even if I did do numbers, I wouldn't do one now because I just wouldn't feel justified in it. But yeah, just a quick overview. Like, not any particular characters stand out, but I think the way they all work together works really well, and the way they tell the story, I think, is really well done. Playing on, starting out with you in this room, kind of introducing the viewer, because as the first Saw movie, like, this is what the series is kind of all about, and then hopping into the backstory and then connecting it all later. So yeah, overall, I think it's just like it's a fun journey to see how these characters, like a thought experiment, right? How would these characters act in this situation? And then just finding out more and more as the movie goes on. And as from the perspective of, this is the only Saw movie I've seen, I'm really excited to see the next ones. Even if they're not as good as this one in terms of story, I'm still just, I don't know, excited to go along the journey and see kind of where they took it and what the backstory of these characters are and what other characters and traps they come up with. Because I've heard a couple of traps that you guys have mentioned through, like, Geek First casts, but other than that, like, I don't really know what to expect, so I'm excited for that.
Well, and that's why I'll defend it, though, too, is because I think a lot of people maybe just kind of like this one, and as they watch more, it's like, oh, this is bad, this is bad. I don't think, there's a few of them that are, but I don't think they get outrageously bad to something, like, I don't honestly even think, like, the quality dip is, like, an Amazing Spider-Man to, like, an Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't think it's something, there's a few like that, but I think it's just, like, you can never catch that. This movie, to me, I guess I'm taking over, this movie to me is like a lightning in a bottle with a twist, with the way it's done. That, like I said, we talked about how it was kind of like a pioneer for this new type of horror. I don't think the sequels really dip. They're not as good, but they're not, they dip, but it's not like they go down, but it's not like a whoosh, it's just like, okay, they kind of get down, it gets watered down because the traps take the precedent. And that's my final thoughts is, this is a character study. The traps are just used to get you to get into, like, the club, They put the poster of the really good looking chicks to get you in, and then when you get in, they just really want you there to have the drinks and the conversation. That's what this is. Like, that's the flashiness of, like, oh yeah, there's horror and this, like, gross stuff. But really, that takes a big backseat to the characters and the story and the twists. And I'll always defend this. The other ones, like I said, you could say are just torture porn and lots of fun and gore. I can give you that. I can debate you on something, I can give you that. This one, no. This one to me is more about the characters. It's more about the story. And I think it's really done well. And it's, I said it earlier, the use of flashback. It's one of the best uses of flashbacks in films, because films use that so much. And they can get, like, for me, something like, it's the same thing as a dream sequence. It's like a BVS. Dream sequence and flashbacks are the same, where they can be great. Same thing in a narration movie. They can be great, but sometimes if they're overdone or just used to fill time instead of actually contribute to the story, it can really stick out. I'm giving this an 8.5. I don't think I could give it higher than that, because that would be like an A. I think there's a few little things that I couldn't leave it to be an A. And yeah, it is a little day at times, and, like, it's, the acting isn't amazing in it, but I like the characters in it. They're these characters for some reason stand out a lot more than some characters in like a Halloween or a Friday the 13th, like the first one. You know, okay, maybe take out Halloween because Jamie Lee Curtis, but like Friday the 13th, like I can remember Kevin Bacon because that's Kevin Bacon. But like there's other ones where these characters do stand out, and I think they do. Yeah, they're sometimes one note, but they're maybe like a 1.5 note. You know, like they're not. They have the role, but they give it a bit more meat to it. It's not just your classic, asshole, funny guy. You know, like they do go for something a bit more smarter. So yeah, 8.5, like I said, top 20 greatest horror films of all time. I think it's up there. I think it's does a lot of stuff for the franchise, or the genre, I should say. So one of my favorite movies, honestly, too. Just a fun thrill. Even watching it back, I'm surprised. I think I would get bored of it after knowing everything, but I still like the way it lays out and has a nice time length. So, yeah.
I'm gonna agree with Taylor on the 7.5. I really like this movie. The ending is great. The twist is always just so good. But I definitely think that there's problems with it. The acting, some little things as far as like continuity and the throwing and the foot and just things like that. Yeah. So. It is really good, especially, I guess, for its time and for the budget. I do enjoy watching it.
And his first film, too. Very impressive, yeah.
So, I don't know. The second one's my favorite, so I'm excited to talk about that one with you guys.
I am, because I'm surprised. I'm excited to get down to why it's your favorite. Because, like, I can kind of see why, but just because, like, usually everyone just says, oh, yeah, the OG's the best one. So I'm excited to break that down.
Yeah. So, yeah, overall, I like this one. I'm excited to talk about the next one, though. Everything's already been said, so, you know, that is what it is.
Taylor, Phil, where can they find us?
Well, if you escape your traps, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection. You gotta go onto Google.
Escape your traps.
You can escape your traps.
The Google.
You gotta go onto the Google, and you gotta go into that little search bar, and you gotta type in your Facebook, or you can just go into the top space bar. I don't know why I said Google.
It's not the space bar either. Not that they're not going to search in the space.
The search bar. You gotta type in like the HTTP address bar. Type in your Facebook. You want to go in there. You can do it on your phone if you're within Wi-Fi. Don't use the data unless you want to, because we're worth the data. Just saying. But I mean, you want to go on your Facebook, and then you want to type in that search bar on Facebook, Geek vs. Space Podcast. Because then you're going to get awesome stuff like Horizon Zero Dawn reviews or retrospectives.
It did exist.
But you're going to find more content like what we're doing right now. Like, it's a good time.
And you can also come on there and tell us what trap you would want to do if you were stuck in there. Yeah.
I completely forgot. I love the shot when he closes the door on him when he says game over. I forgot that. Yeah. Just the way the smoke is and the green light, I forgot to shout that out. You can find us SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, the whole shebang, on Twitter. We got lots of stuff going on. Last 2 weeks of Netflix and Fail dropped, did 9 Lives, fucking awful movie. But we got these guys are doing Geekverse, killing over there. By the time this comes out, our Defenders review should be out. So hopefully, we love that. Hopefully, we recorded this before, or we're really disappointed. But got lots of stuff, lots of big gauntlet match coming in August, 6-way title match, which fuck that shit, Dr. Gordon. But, lots of good stuff coming up. We got lots of fun stuff on the horizon. Thank you very much for tuning in.
And if you want some early content, you can support us on Patreon. $1 gets you access. So
And $5 if you want everything. $1 gets you, like, kind of half of the stuff. $5 gets you everything. Right now, you can get a podcast that's not coming out till December. Our start of Force Awakens commentary track.
And even though we just recorded the first Saw, all of them are going to be up there early.
Yeah. Same thing if you like this or Spider-Man Retro, or soon a few weeks or months we're going to start the Marvel Retro. So if you like the retros, it's a money worth. So thank you very much for tuning in.
Until next time.
Yeah, see, you were thinking the same thing I was. Yeah. Boom.
I was ready to steal your line.